This is the XNC Podcast, your Xbox newscast featuring Colteastwood, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. West Coast and 8 p.m. East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, the XNC Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with Colteastwood's Xbox Newscast.
Welcome. This is the XNC Podcast. I'm the host, Colt Eastwood. I'll always be the host, unless something crazy happens, and I'll hand it over to somebody like Gaz. No, I won't do that. But hey, welcome to the show. This is on live on YouTube, and we're on demand on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Pocket Podcasts. So that'll be up later on. But right now, I am live with two extremely incredible guests that I've been waiting a long time to talk to both of them, but one especially. I'm going to start off introducing with someone you may know, and this is Gaz from Game On Daily, London guy, all the way here. Gaz, how you doing?
I'm doing sick. I'm always sick when I'm on XNC, man. It's Monday, 1 a.m., but it never feels like 1 a.m. when I'm with you, bro. I'm just hyped. Had a sick festival yesterday. I was on a bit of a come down because it's Monday morning work blues. But then I remembered at XNC, and my energy levels have been dank since you confirmed I'm here. So yeah, man, let's get into it. And I'm really intrigued to get to know Alex more. We've been sliding into each other's DMs, although that's more romantic than it's supposed to sound. But yeah, really keen to get to chat to Alex. Love your content, man.
We can keep it romantic if you want. That's fine.
Let's do it, man. Let's go all in. It's not a family show anymore, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, man, I'm really hyped. Let's do this.
Yeah, leave it to Gaz to say something totally creepy in the first opening minutes of the show. But I got to introduce. I can't call him an up and comer. He's been here. He's been making moves for years. It's it's Alex.
I don't know.
Alex, say hi to the audience.
Hey, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I just want to say let's have a fun show, and I think it'll be great. Some of you may have seen some of my content. I'd say the more risque parts of my content. But yeah, let's have a good time.
Yeah, let's do. Yeah, well, it's been crazy. I've started the show. I've had a lot of people on. I've kind of had some different people on. So there isn't an echo chamber, but it is quite strange, and a lot of people may not know this. Shout out to Paris for showing up. He says, I'm a big Alex fan. Found his vids by accident.
Wait,
and hilarious.
Yeah, Paris.
That's a lie. That's a different Paris. That's not the right Paris.
It is the real Paris.
That's a lie.
Paris. He loves the sauce. Don't you,
Paris is cool enough to stop in and say hi to the chat. It's amazing. He's been having a good time online and repping his stuff that he's doing. So yeah, he's a fan, Alex. So cool. Yeah, I mean, people know you as, we'll get into that in a minute, but people know you as the guy who's kind of straightening out the nonsense. But I wanted to spring this on you. Okay. Around 2017, when I first started getting into YouTube, people started watching my videos. You helped run a show called the Corporate Slave Awards, and you were a strong proponent of bringing me to the top of the tier as the Xbox Corporate Slave.
Yes.
Tell the audience what happened way back then.
I even made a video about you.
Of course.
What was it?
I deleted it. I didn't like the way I did the video. It was a video Colt did about the Xbox One X. And it was about the cost of the One X compared to buying a PC with comparable parts.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Sauce.
What
did you say?
And I just kind of like broke down each specific thing, and then I was like, "This is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong."
But was it though?
It was.
Oh man! Oh, damn.
So Alex, are you one of the guys that's like you can build a killer PC for $500? Were you one of those guys?
I think at that time you absolutely could. At that time you absolutely could. Today, I do not recommend even getting anything that has any sort of electronic components in it. Because
I thought you were going to say with like the price hike, but
yeah, I mean everything is just ridiculous. Like even we were talking about like me remodeling my house. Even the cost of wood has increased exponentially. So like you're looking at like the cost of copper, you're looking at the cost of silicon, you're looking at TSMC, you're looking at all those other companies that make chipsets, either behind raising prices, or even companies like, you know, even AMD, third-party manufacturers of GPUs. Like those prices aren't going to come down, I think, to like 2023, 2024. Okay. So I wouldn't even, like right now, I wouldn't even consider building a PC. Just the way the price, unless you can get it at MSRP, it's just really difficult to do even with scalping. But I think back then when you had the 1060 and you had some other things, you could totally do it. Like I was a big fan of the. 1060
was like $230 back then, wasn't it?
Yeah,
if I remember right.
And then like I would pair it with a G4560. It's a dual core CPU, and you could literally run games at 4K at 60 FPS if you had like the right GPU and the right setup. You could do it on a dual core CPU. It was nuts. And like just put that thing in a pizza box and you're good to go. Like I don't care. You know what I mean? Like I don't give a shit. Oops, sorry.
So what was the whole story behind the corporate slave thing? Like because I was Mr. Big Xbox fan.
Well,
I actually have a quote from you back in the day.
It was a rib on a bunch of people. Colt. It was just a rib, and the person who does it, I don't really talk to anymore. So I really haven't done it in a long time. But yeah, it was just a big rib of like who we're gonna put as a top fanboy for the year, and who would do like the most, and who was the one that did the most outlandish things that year, you know?
Right.
But yeah I mean, I grew out of that, and I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna make fanboy content, right, which for some reason does very well, I don't know why.
I know why.
Okay, well, Alex, I was so mad at you 4 years ago in 2017. I remember one night I was in. Oh yeah, I was so mad because back then I was in a party chat with Dealer Gaming. And
I did one on Dealer too. Oh, geez.
Yeah. I know. I know you and Dealer did like a debate. I remember driving home after work because the debate went up at like 5 my time, and I was driving home. And you guys were in the middle of this debate, and I pulled over on the side of the road and listened before I got home, so I didn't want to miss a beat. But I was so mad at you back then because I was in a party chat, and they were like, I think Rand might have been in there back in the day, and Dealer, and they're like, Alex did this video, and he wants you to be in the corporate slave of the year. He wants you to take the top award. And I'm like, why? What do I do? I'm so fair and I'm so smart. Of course, I was so naive. And they said, here's what he said about you. And this is the direct quote from Oh No, It's Alex in 2017. Here, are you ready for this? He said, Colt I don't have it played. I just have it memorized. It's ingrained in my memory because you hurt me that much.
No.
He said, Colt Eastwood is the most dangerous man on YouTube. Because his videos are so well produced that people are going to believe the bull crap that he's spewing.
Let me tell you. I am so jealous of you. Absolute jealousy. I'm so jealous of like the production value that you have, the work you put in, and how your videos come out. It's like, it's wild, man. Like your content, and let anybody say what they want to say. The production value that you put into your content, is bar none. Is bar none. I was going to say another word. Is really, really good, and you can't see. And everybody who criticizes, because the way I see it, right? People can criticize me and my content all day long. I don't mind it. I think it's actually great because it'll just be making better content.
Yeah,
but I think too, like with you, it's so difficult to criticize you. You can only really criticize the things you're saying or what you're trying to portray, and you can do it that way. You can't criticize Colt for his content. You can't criticize him for his production value. You can't criticize him for his audio. You can't. It's like all those other things that other people do that are just very lazy. You put the work into, and it's so hard to like not be super jealous of you, dude. God, I hate you, bro.
Yeah, Colt, you piece of I'm just kidding. I'm messing up. This is I like this. This is a nice intro. We've just beaten the crap out Colt on his own show.
I love it. And it's funny, like I stood by that so hard, and I still stand by. I'm with you, Alex. Like I thought you were going to kind of go into. I wouldn't recommend anyone who wants to game on a PC to try and build a $500 PC. I think you're wasting your money. And so,
You think so?
one of the things that I think you're much better off spending $700 and just getting something that you won't have to take so many compromises.
Are you building it for your first time?
I built my first one for my first time, and I spent about $800, and then I went and bought a new GPU the next year.
Yeah, so
I bought a 960, and I couldn't run some games at 1080p 60. I'd have to go down lower or lower all these settings below medium. I'm like, this sucks. This thing's brand new.
That's the real reason why, like, me personally, I would rather have people spend less in the beginning. Mostly because a lot of people, when they first start spending money on PCs, it's this like, I want to buy the top tier thing. I want to buy the very best thing because I want the experience, right? And they don't realize that just because you spend more money doesn't mean you get better performance or better visuals. You can get it with like a really good. There's a very like diminishing return in PC gaming.
Yeah, just
the more you spend doesn't mean the more you get. You can spend mid-range and get really good stuff. And so I think that's like one of the big things too, and like one of the big areas that I'm going to make a bold prediction.
Okay.
Make a very bold prediction. My bold prediction is a PlayStation 5 game that will come to PC will not need a Gen 4 SSD. The prediction that I have is that it will more than likely need a regular SATA SSD. Because when you see the actual time differences between what you're looking at in game compared to other games with those SSDs, you're talking about tenths of a second in terms of loading. Now people can talk about the IO and all this other stuff that they have no idea what they're talking about, right?
Which you've explained very very well in some of your videos this past month.
And it's just like you have that, but then you have people going like, "Oh, I want the best," so they buy a Gen 4 SSD when they could have bought a SATA SSD and put more money towards their GPU, or they bought a 11 series Intel chip when they could have bought an AMD series an AMD chip. They could have bought an AMD chip and saved a couple $100 there and put more money towards something else. So I think people spend things in the wrong places, and I think that's where a lot of the factor comes in, where they spend like, I spent all this money, but I feel it's always best to bargain hunt your first time, because then if you really do mess it up, it's not like I just tossed away $1,400.
Yeah,
tossed away.
That's good advice.
Something.
Yeah, I was there. I mean, I was really trying to bargain hunt my first PC in 2015, and I bought an i5 4370, I think. I don't remember. It's been a while. Like, it was a good CPU, but you got to spend the right money on the CPU. Of course, like, a lot of people here don't care about the ins and the outs of PC gaming, but I'll just say, find a good price. Like, if you spend $2,500 or $3,000, it doesn't mean that PC is going to last you 2 more extra years than
it won't.
A middleware like great PC for $800 or $1,000. But yeah, that's my whole thing. Was I was a big Xbox gamer. I bought a PC so I could do YouTube videos plus play games on it. And then when I saw, oh my gosh, all the problems that come with it and the stuff that I had to learn, I did a lot of fanboying about how consoles are so great. Oh boy, did I pay the price. So you were one of them. So I don't think I won. I think I got second place that year or something. I don't remember who won it. Do you remember what it was back then?
Listen, I have had far too much alcohol in my system to remember last week. So I don't even know what was going on.
Oh my gosh. So, Alex, tell us what your YouTube career has been, like why you got in and where you were going, and you kind of took a new turn doing some different content that you seem to be really enjoying and people are liking it.
So, okay. The first thing is my YouTube channel has always been very tumultuous. I started out doing just stuff like on the side, like with a really bad camera and like a headset microphone that I got for whatever. And I was like, oh, I want to talk about these things or do, in gaming or whatever. I then did a video about having ADHD, which I do have.
All three of us have ADHD.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's the ADHD squad.
It's big. And
mine's really bad.
And that one got about 180,000 views, I think. And it was just me talking in my room. It was really wild.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
and
pretty cool.
And then every other video I ever had like 4 views. So you know how that goes.
Yes, I do.
So then I was like, okay, well, let me do gaming content. Let me do, ADHD content. Let me do some other stuff. And I really thought about it, and I was like, my channel doesn't have a theme. There's no theme to my channel.
There you go.
Right? It was so much different content, right? So I started like, I went back and I deleted all the old videos. I just got rid of them, right? Everything I did, I deleted. And the only thing I've kept from then on was a video I did about game critics lambasting Donkey for game reviews.
Okay.
And that one got like 160K views as well. And I was like, holy like whatever.
I'm famous.
Not at all. And then and then we were there and I was like, okay, how do I really get this channel where I want it to be? And so I started throwing different things at the wall. Like one series that I do that I think does quite well is PC port reviews. I think that's a big gap that is missing after Total Biscuit passed away. And I think that's an area that people are not looking for that we don't have anymore. And what I didn't want to have happen was people just say, oh, you're just doing this because of his name or whatever. So I put his little icon in the bottom left corner of the videos, just, as like a remembrance, right?
A homage to him.
A little homage. Another thing that I do is typical gaming news stuff, whatever, nothing too crazy. But then I was like, all right, I saw really wild stuff on Twitter one day. Like just ridiculousness all over Twitter. And I was like, let me do something fun with this because this is just so absurd. And it took off. And it really took off. And so the train kept rolling because every single week there was something new that people were just saying ridiculous things about that nobody thinks about in a logical fashion. And then between those things, having those themes, and then there were two videos that I highly, highly recommend. One is with Devin Nash. He is a marketing expert. He owns a couple of streaming orgs, and he does really great stuff. And one of the videos is how to grow on YouTube. And then the other one is from Alpha Gaming, who I highly also recommend. Yeah. He does really great stuff too. He's sick. And a lot of it really is just stuff that I learned. Like thumbnail title is 90% of your content.
Oh my gosh. It's so ridiculous.
Oh, wow.
Really
thumbnail title is 90% of your content. And like Devin, Devin Nash and Alpha Gaming, they were having a stream together and they were talking about it. And they were like, do you use tags? And he's like, I don't even know where tags are anymore. And he's like, and Devin Nash goes, that's how little tags matter in the algorithm. And what matters is the title, the description, and the thumbnail. Like that's it. Everything else is irrelevant. You could have like the worst visual, the worst audio, but if somebody clicks it because you've got those two things, you're good.
I mean, they have to stick around. I mean, that was always my approach because I was trying to make really high quality videos back before when I used to get 4 views. I'd make really high quality videos and nobody would watch them. I'm like, well, my thumbnail's great and the title's great and they come in, maybe they'll stick around. YouTube is absolutely ridiculous. And right now it's very slow because news is very quiet. But we do have just about 500 people watching. This is the XNC podcast. I'm here with great friends, Gaz from Game On Daily, and oh no, it's Alex, who's got his own YouTube channel where he's covered a wide spectrum of stuff. He does a lot of PC stuff, and he does a lot of, how do we say, just correction on fanboy nonsense.
Some adjustments need to be made.
So yeah, and we will talk about this because Alex does content where he doesn't call people names. He doesn't lambast them. He's actually really nice about it, but people need to be corrected.
I think that's the thing too, right? What I wanted to do was I wanted to fight the argument and not fight the person. I think that was the big differential between like the content I made before in the past compared to now. I was like, all right, let me fight their argument instead of fighting them as a person. I mean, the worst I've ever done is call them stupid. And you're going to be like, okay, whatever, like,
or you call their take stupid,
or I'll call their take stupid,
very regularly,
and like now the meme is, people timestamp when I get out of my chair.
They're saying it in the chat. I'm sure people want to see you. Hopefully, we get you riled up.
Like, when's he going to get up and get out of his chair?
We'll get into that for sure. Hey, if you're watching the show, if you're having a good time, if you're enjoying the show, and you like these two guys, and how they do things. Please take a minute to move the chat out of the way. Hit the like button. It supports the show. Let's get a couple hundred likes going. You guys are amazing. The chat. I'm trying to keep my eyes over on the chat to kind of see everybody who's showing up. It's amazing. You guys are great. Real quick, I usually open up with this, but Gaz, what have you been playing lately? I think there's a couple games you've been really busy on. What have you been playing?
Been playing Psychonauts quite a bit. That game has been a bit of a surprise hit for everyone, which I'm kind of guilty to say it's a surprise hit because I really liked Psychonauts. There's this thing there. You people are weighing it up against Ratchet and Clank, and at one point I thought, come on, man, that's not going to be a fair comparison because bigger budgets, Double Fine, smaller studio. Come on, man, that's not a fair comparison. There's no way Ratchet's gonna destroy Psychonauts. I'm playing both, and generally, Psychonauts has gripped me, man. So that's a game that's been a sleeper hit for a lot of people. It's really good. Although I think It Takes Two will take it. But yeah, I've been playing that and Hades again, because Hades is like crack for me right now. It's mad. Once you find a build, that's it. You're swimming in the source. So those two games are what I've been playing quite a bit.
All right. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're dipping into Psychonauts. It's a weird game. Like, am I going to like this? And yeah, I was same way. I didn't think I would like it, and I really liked it. Alex, what have you been playing?
I'm playing a little game called Loop Hero.
Loop Hero.
I've heard of that.
Yeah. So Loop Hero is really neat. It's got this 8-bit flair to it. I'm a big Devolver Digital fan. That's one of my favorite publishers.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to them.
Really, it's just one of the best pubs you can find out there. Anything they make, pretty much I say 95% of what they make is solid gold. Like
I need to play Carrion. Yeah, that's
Carrion's really good too. Yeah. It's just a revert. It's like you're playing as the Thing.
Yeah, so sick.
Yes.
But Loop Hero is really neat. You have a small tile set that's 8-bit, and you have a very, I would even say, almost ASCII art character who moves around the actual tile set. And every loop you do, more monsters spawn, and you can work through that. Now, as you fight monsters, you don't actually do anything. It just does it automatically for you. So the game basically plays itself, right? So here's the difference, though. As you defeat monsters, you get cards that are dealt. You also get items that are dealt. So you then place those cards onto that tile set to either spawn new monsters, spawn new enemies. Then you can even spawn different areas that increase your HP or your stamina or your strength throughout that area. And then you get new gear. The thing is, you only have a limited amount of inventory. So that gear, if you don't equip it, will then just get trashed into just stats or whatever you need for the actual camp that you have back and forth. So it's kind of like a rogue-lite game, but it's also almost like a self-playing game. It's super weird. So it's more strategy in terms of like what you do after each loop or how you approach each loop. And then the more loops you do, the stronger enemies get until you fight the actual end boss, and you go from there. So that's
addictive.
It's a really neat game. Yeah, it's definitely a wild thing to try out. So I'm playing Loop Hero. I've also been playing Death's Door, and then I'm playing Chrono Cross, which is a PS1 JRPG from back in the day.
Old school.
Yeah. So that's a fun one. Also, I started Yakuza 0 last night.
Oh my gosh. I keep starting them, and then I'm like, I need to pay attention. ADD kicks in, and then I get in a party chat, and I have to just like do it.
So I did a thing where, so here's the thing I do on my channel, shameless plug. I do a thing called Stream the Series, where I take a series of games and I play the whole series back to back. Like all the way through to completion. So we did God of War, Devil May Cry we did recently, which was fantastic. Nice. Metal Gear Solid, Splinter Cell, and now we're doing all the Yakuza games streamed back to back all the way through.
That'd be wicked.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's pretty wild.
Check that out.
Okay, I got a couple supers, and some of them kind of go to you guys. But I got a good friend, Yodani Quizada says, place your bets on if Alex leaves his chair, gents. So, we did cover that a minute ago, but people love that. I always hear about that. They can't wait. You know what, Alex?
Gag. It's a good gag.
Your gospel song the other day was killing me. Just killing me doing the fanboy gospel chant.
So I when I was young, I grew up in a very poor neighborhood, and I was raised by basically the grandmother of the neighborhood, and she would take us to Baptist church on Sundays.
Wow.
So
So
there
that's
you
where
go.
this comes
That's
from.
So that's where it came from.
Well, I
Wicked.
knew there was like some type of like personal experience. I'm like, he's way too good at this.
You get really good at it. Yep.
He's got to preach the truth. We got Kylo Ren. Thanks for the $5 super chat. It says, never imagine I see Alex on XNC. I caught a few of his hot takes. He used to make some pretty spicy content, and he's got a little picture of some hot spice going there.
It's there. It's got a little kick to it.
It is pretty strange. Like I said, I really have watched Alex's stuff here and there, and watched like the things he says on Twitter, and we're going to get into this because PlayStation's been winning for so long, and they're kind of in a weird spot where they didn't see Xbox coming, and some people have been unreasonable. It's the reason why Alex has been doing some of the content he's done, and he will do stuff on the other side like he did with Halo. We'll get into that. Space Dovakin with a $5 super chat says, hey, Alex, I managed to get my hands on a Nitro 5 i5 10300 with an RTX 3050.
Okay.
For $699.
That's great.
So is that a pre-built? He said, was that a good deal?
That's really not bad. Depending on the resolution you're playing at, you're not doing too bad. I think if you're doing, you could probably even do 1440p 60 with that. I think you kept 3050 Ti or 3050.
He just says a 3050. That's pretty good.
That's really not that bad.
I'm wondering if you got the CPU and the GPU and you put it into another build. You can follow up with that one, Space Dovakin, if you want.
Yeah.
It's probably not a full build there, but we got a $2 super chat from Garcia. It says, Alex looks like Ben Affleck.
Yes. Apparently I get that quite often. I don't know where that comes from.
You do. I can
Do
see that.
you have a Batman cowl you
that.
can put on real quick?
I do not, no. So I did a gag in one of my videos about it, and everybody who made that comment, I would just put it on there, and then I started adding like Jansen and Bob Strike Back's clips in there from when Ben Affleck was on there, like chasing Amy or just stuff like that, just to like let everybody know, like, I know the joke. Yes, the joke is there. We're gonna keep it going.
All right, yeah, Ben Affleck. Gaz, what do people ever say you look like anybody famous?
Steve Buscemi? I don't know.
No,
I have like that weird face. Mr. Bean? I don't know. What kind of
Why?
Because
you're from London? Is that why? It's kind of fucked up. I'm sorry.
I am. I don't know. I just look weird. I'm like in my mid-30s wearing a Source hat. There's not much you can. I'm beyond help right now. I got a Source mug and Source shirts. Something's wrong with my life. There's a reason why I'm single. It's probably got to do with my looks, but I'm happy with it.
Listen, King. It's not about your looks. It's what you think you look like.
It's what's in my Oh, I thought you were saying something else.
It's what you think you look like.
Oh,
and that's how
I
you
thought
look.
I'm a G. I feel like a boss.
If you think you look like a $1 million, you are $1 million, dude. That's how you do it.
I'm a trillionaire.
Self-proclamation. Okay.
No one loves me more than myself, which is an indictment.
There you go.
As an indictment and praise. This is a weird show. What is going on? Should I get my moisturizing lotion out?
Paris says Gaz looks like the sauce. Obi-Wan says you look like Mr. Bean. I don't see it. Oren Moscovici says Gaz looks like Joe Pesci.
Joe Pesci. That's the one I get.
I get the Patrick Wilson, the guy from the bad guy from Aquaman and some other movies, but I don't know. I'm just glad that people say I don't. People used to say I look like Screech, and I never.
You look like the bad guys from Mars Attack. That's what you look like.
Okay. So we got another super chat here from Decimator X 808. This one would be better suited to you guys, but he says, Colt, what do you think about the Dead Space remake? And I'll just say from the outset that when Dead Space came out, I was just getting back into gaming. And no lie, I was too timid to play that game. Like I did the opening half an hour, and I'm like, okay, too scary. Things have changed.
Oh, yeah?
I played much scarier games. But let's take it to Gaz and then Alex. Gaz, what are you thinking about Dead Space remake? Are you following it?
Yeah, man. They showed this little tech demo. They're taking it seriously. Like the level of skin detail, and it's just like that gory stuff. Yeah, do it like that. Let's leverage the technology a little bit more. And it just I was afraid it was going to be like an HD remaster. I don't get hyped about these things. Dead Space is so criminally, in my opinion, overlooked, despite the fact that it does have its own fan base.
But not overlooked. They actually decided they were going to do something.
Which just surprised me for EA with their recent kind of endeavors. I'm like, okay, respect. You guys recognize Dead Space. So I'm really eager to play it. It's one of, jump scares are one thing, but it's the sheer unsettling feeling, the whispers. It's just psychological horror. It's so good. And that with next gen tech, there's so much potential. I'm praying that this does so well that they're kind of using it as a test bed to see whether the sequel is warranted. There's enough hype for it. And I think it will do quite well. Just praying it's a good game. But I'm hyped. I love Dead Space, man. That stuff is amazing. Very rare, that kind of game. A survival horror game that gets me that scared. If you haven't played it, Colt, please do.
I will.
Do try
I will.
it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm playing Grounded with my kids. There's no game that could scare me now after seeing a wolf spider as big as my game room. Even though that game looks like a cartoon, I play with my kids on Party Chat. They're in the other rooms, and I kid you not, I scream like a little kid when we play that game. So, Alex, are you a big Dead Space fan?
I am. I'm also a very slighted Dead Space fan, especially after 2, because I thought 2 was pretty much perfect with Dead Space. If you've never, if you're a little worried about Dead Space, right? Pick up a little movie called Event Horizon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Literally, Event Horizon is Dead Space. Dead Space is beat for beat that movie, and it's
so true.
It's wild. It's a wild movie. A little gory. I'd definitely put the kids to bed before you watch it.
I'll watch it.
Yeah. So good.
But that movie is really, really good. That's pretty much exactly what that game is about. I think that the best part about that game and the best part of all of this is we have to give props to Capcom, because in my opinion, I think the reason why EA went back and is doing Dead Space is because of the success that Resident Evil has had with its remakes.
Oh yeah, nice call.
That's
So
a good shout.
I think that whole thing. I think if Capcom didn't take that chance, EA would have been like, we don't really have anything here to really move forward. And Dead Space is criminally, I think it is overlooked in the grand sense of the common gamer and not really people like us.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant.
Ingrained in the whole thing, where we're looking for games like that. And I think too that as long as they treat the original with this remake with respect, and they don't really botch it, because I think Resident Evil 2 remake was actually worse than the original.
Oh,
Fire take, by the way.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, what about Mass Effect? The Mass Effect trilogy? Did you mess around with it, or?
I did. I did the first 2 games, and then 3 when I saw the ending, and I just saw all the backlash about it. I didn't even play 3. I did the first.
Well, did you play the? I was in respect to the remaster. Did you mess around with the remaster this year?
I have it. I haven't booted it up.
Okay, because Gaz was saying, it's hopefully it's not just an HD remake, which Mass Effect trilogy was, but it was still really great. But they've gone above and beyond to make this game look modern. If you've watched the stuff, which is really good. So they've given care and attention. And the chat's talking about Dead Space, so they're happy about that too. Let me get a couple more, and we'll get into these topics because there's some good stuff here. We got Yodani Quizada with another one. He says, question for Alex, what's the story behind the Aqua Teen Hunger Force clips in your videos?
I really miss Adult Swim being good.
Yes.
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 So that's pretty much what it is. And so I've always had a very close propensity with Master Shake and his personality. So I think I was like, let me just see if I can find a clip that I think the first one that I did was when Jeff Grubb made a tweet, and the clip that I used was a bee being like, "My bee's knees, get it? It's a joke." And I was like, it's so corny, I've got to put it in there. Because, I might sometimes partake in other things that may alter your state. And so I'll watch that show.
So are you doing a video? Are you doing a video and you've got these Aqua Teen Hunger Force bits and pieces lodged in your mind? You think, I got to go find that on YouTube and grab it.
That's literally exactly what happens. I'll be making the content and I'll be like, oh, this clip from season 4, episode 6 would be really great right here. And then I'll just use that. And everybody's like, what? Like, how did you pull that off? And that's pretty much what it is. Or I'll pull stuff from movies, or I'll pull stuff from like just basically like content that I grew up with. I think it's really great. And just like, people are like, oh, now I understand you more and why you are the way you are from the content that you use.
Adult Swim, in fairness to you, Alex, is very... So my humor is like very Adult Swim. Big fan of Eric Andre. A lot of people won't get my comedy, which surprised me when the Source videos come up. People really like some gel with the humor, which shocked me. So, yeah, I vibe with you with that. I love Aqua Teen.
Unfortunately, Adult Swim is a shell of its former self.
Yeah, it's really dead now, and there's no comparison now. Yeah. That's
everything good dies, man. And I'm old enough to have seen it all from the beginning of time, so I've seen everything that I love die.
Colt,
man, look, having Toonami right on Sunday, and then 10:30 hits, and you were like, and you hear that bump, 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 bump. You're like, oh, it's on tonight, boys. Like, here we go. You know, like that was the best part.
That's so good. I missed that so much.
I found an actual playlist of all the tracks that they used from all their bumps on YouTube.
Oh, damn.
Oh my gosh.
So like I would play that in the background.
It's play that in your car.
Yeah, it's so good.
I got one more that's kind of funny. Normally I wouldn't spotlight some of this stuff. I think is funny though. After a while, you know, things get funny as you kind of relax. But Ricky Fallon says, it's a $5 super chat. Thanks. He says, Alex and Fertinga Gaming are nearly identical. Down to the same jokes and the use of drugs and alcohol to get the content done. Laugh out loud. Still fun to watch. Now, Fertinga is a guy that I've bantered back and forth with over the years. Fertinga bought my Colteastwood clock I sold on Redbubble. He paid $30, like $35 plus shipping for a cheap plastic clock. He goes,
Alex
I can't believe.
I'll see you later.
He goes, I can't believe I wasted this much money on this cheap piece of crap. Yeah, it's funny. Of course, you gotta relax a little bit because you know this stuff happens. And Alex and I Fertinga and I argued about the PC thing. Like he got really mad when I did the PC thing. One thing I didn't mention, Alex, was my PC build was based on it had to be hit the requirements on Steam for VR. And then, like a month before the One X came out, Phil's like, "Yeah, we're not doing VR." And so my whole video is out the window because it was one of those things that you had to have a certain GPU or greater, to be able to meet the spec. And then no VR happened, so now you could use a 1050 Ti as long as you had a pretty decent. Like you were the Pentium guy, Alex. You were the guy that said to throw a Pentium into the gaming PC to be under budget.
And look who was right.
And Dealer and I wanted to suplex you back then, but it's all fun and games. So one more that just came in. The Glory of Xbox with the £5 super chat says, Colt, do you think Halo Infinite's campaign will be glorious, or are the delays and modes cut a cause? Oh boy, we're going to get into that. Are they a cause for concern? I have a bad feeling. And he says, great show, thumbs up. Shoot, should I lead off? Well,
go ahead.
Halo Infinite isn't on the topic list, but we'll get in. Shout out to 650 people watching. If you're here, if you're having a good time, if you laughed at least once, show your support. Hit the like button. Keep talking in the comment section. Channel members, we're watching out for your questions. We'll read those too outside of supers because you guys have been doing so much support. I want to make sure that you're getting represented. You're amazing. I see True77 with the Joanna Dark badge for being a channel member, but we're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts, or live on YouTube here with Gaz from Game On Daily, famous dude, and another famous dude. Nope. Oh no, it's Alex making great videos. So Halo Infinite, I am concerned. I know they've had very rough development, and there's been people coming and going, and they brought in Joe Staten. I think they're in a good place, but I really, and I know you guys are with me on the show, I'm really concerned that they have to cut and make compromises to meet a promise of holiday 2021, when my stance is, why not just wait, make it as great as it can be from the get-go. Let's go with Gaz first. Be nice to the chat, Gaz. Be nice.
As if enough people already hate me for my Halo take. But if you watch my last Source video, you clearly feel my stance on it. I don't care. I will say this, and it comes from a position of a really big Halo fan. I am concerned, but I don't want to overstate the concerns. My concerns with co-op. That's an L. That's a fat L. Deal with it. Okay? That's that. The question was talking about the campaign's quality. Now this is the same studio delivered Halo 4's campaign, which is really good. Halo 5's campaign was such a farce to me. I don't understand how that even saw the green light. And then to reconcile that with its ad campaign, which was so misleading. What was happening? I don't understand how that stuff happens. So you can forgive me for being a little bit skeptical about it. But I will say this. I made a video last year where I said Halo Infinite could be one of the best games ever. I still think I'm not hating on 343.
Yeah,
I'm just really... I want them to do well. I would be so happy that a studio... In fact, I think they deserve it in many ways. They've been through so much. But rightly or wrongly, they've been through a lot. They've been raked through the coals. And if Halo becomes a success story, that'd be great because they've been really transparent. So I want Halo Infinite's company to do well. I think the scope is really large with a Zeta Halo setting. I don't know how much Staten can change things. He's only been there for a year, so it's maybe post-launch content. I want to know what they want to do with post-launch content. It's a 10-year game. I don't want no Destiny fetch quest stuff. No, don't put that in there. Because Halo Infinite has more scope than that. If you read the books, there's so much scope for a good Halo game. So I'm not writing off Halo. I want it to do well. I'm hoping the campaign smashes it.
We know the gameplay's good.
The gameplay is good, but the story, Colt, we are in September now. I don't know anything is happening with this 10-year big Halo game, biggest ever Halo, and we know nothing about the campaign. The thing that caused so much concern, we were really happy with one flyover to appease us for the visuals, right? We gave 343 a lot of credit for something very brief. Goes to show that we are willing to give them kudos where it's deserved, or even if you give us a tiny bit, we'll be thankful.
Yeah,
but
that last showing was really nice looking. I just wanted to see some of that campaign gameplay.
Yeah. I'm hoping it's good, man. The co-op is an L. That's how I experience Halo. That's it. That's how I experience. I don't care this nonsense argument. Oh, you're in the minority. So what? So what? Lots of people play it. Bloody Jason Staten says it's fundamental part of the Halo experience, and that's fact. But I want Halo to do well. I hope they do well. I have faith in Bonnie Ross. She took cues from Titanfall 2, apparently. So I'm rambling here. But Halo, man, come on, man.
Oh, I haven't heard that sounds pretty good.
They kept an eye on that. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, Alex,
you guys get your seatbelts on?
Yeah, let's do this. Let's do this.
Okay, let's do this. You ready? If I have to wait 3 months for co-op and 6 months for Forge, the game should be free.
Okay. Wow.
Simple as
Why?
that.
Why do you say that? I don't agree with you, but I mean, it's on Game Pass, but that's still not a good enough excuse to say it's free.
Everything should be free?
So, preach.
If I'm giving you a full $60, my expectation is that I get a full game. If you're giving me a partial game, but I'm still giving you the full $60 or even the full $15 from Game Pass, you're still getting my money for an incomplete product. There is no excuse why this game should be incomplete.
Well, devil's advocate, you are getting. I'm with you. I want co-op day one.
Oh yeah.
I think it should be there.
It
absolutely.
should be there.
But you do get the full campaign. You're not getting. They're not leaving out parts of the campaign.
Is co-op there?
Co-op is not there.
Then it's not complete.
It's not a complete Halo experience for me. I know where you're coming from, Alex, but to free when the multiplayer is already free is crazy.
So think like this: the multiplayer is already free. We have free-to-play mechanics in the multiplayer with battle passes. We've got all that paid for there. The campaign in Steam is listed as DLC.
I mean, that categorization doesn't mean that's enabled, but unless they've tackled like DLC, it's weird. I don't know why that's
so now we're
categorized as
paying
that.
$60 for DLC that's incomplete.
That's
$60 is only for the campaign. Like
Right.
Alex said, the rest of the game, where if you play, let's say, a typical Halo game is 8 hours, let's say, 8 or 10
8 to
hours.
10, yeah.
Let's just say that's the average. You're paying $60 for a great 8 to 10 hour campaign. The other part that you're going to spend 20 to 100 hours is the multiplayer.
Sure.
And that's completely free. I can't go on board with you, Alex, and say that the campaign should be free. But I would say, why don't you just say, why do that when you can just say, you know what, let's just wait. I feel like 343 is really adamant about keeping a promise of holiday 2021, when I think the promise should be giving you the best Halo experience all in, right there, day one.
Yeah, sure. They should give everything all
agreed.
together in day one. However, we had other Halo games that launched with Forge, co-op, multiplayer, and campaign in a complete package for $60.
Yeah.
Now we are segmenting the campaign and segmenting the multiplayer, having one be free, having the other be a $60 campaign that is feature incomplete. And then we're trying to then defend one and not the other. Just because the multiplayer is free doesn't mean that the campaign should be $60. These things are actually together, no matter what anybody wants to think, whether or not they're separate or not in the actual technical term. Both multiplayer and campaign is in a package.
I mean, Alex, you make sense. You make sense.
Hey, guys,
really,
Warp Stoner, yes, says co-op isn't a part of the core game. What did Joseph Staten say? What were his words?
It is
He
fundamental.
literally says fundamental part of the Halo experience. The legacy is there. I see comparisons with Battlefield. Doesn't have single player. Battlefield 1 and 2 didn't have single player. The core component, legacy-wise, has always been co-op. From Halo CE, how I completed it with my little brother. I mean, people.
Let me take a big dose of realism, because I know that the chat can get upset or they can get excited about the conversation, but let's be real. They're not going to delay the game until everything's all out. They've made the decision. Yeah. I'm going to play the campaign by myself day one. I'm not boycotting. I'm not going to, I don't think speaking with my wallet's going to work on this one. I've said my piece. I spent the whole first weekend telling people I think it'd be better for them to launch in the best state possible and give the game the best launch it can be. First impressions are a big deal, but we know that this is the decision they've made. Yeah. One of my good friends, who's pretty prominent in the Xbox community, says, who's to say they still won't have to delay the game? Real quick, Gaz and Alex, do you think it's possible that 343 might run into a hiccup and have to move past into January or past into 2022?
I'll be shocked. I'll be shocked. If that happens, everyone has to agree. Everyone has to agree. I don't care who you are in chat. That's in trouble. That Halo's in trouble.
This game. So let's put on our Alex Jones tinfoil hats if you guys want, right?
Oh my god.
Also,
I'm gonna use the sensor beep.
Let me just address this in the chat. Someone said you could wait 6 months and then buy it for $60. If I have to wait 6 months for the game, why am I paying $60 for it in the first place? Again, back to my point. I shouldn't pay $60 if I have to wait for the game to be complete. Thank you very much. So let's put our tinfoil hats on, and we're gonna go. Cyberpunk 2077 released in the second week of December. Cyberpunk 2077 had a tumultuous development cycle.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk 2077 had a custom Xbox console. Cyberpunk 2077 also had leadership issues where they had to pull people in from other teams. I'm not saying this is going to be Cyberpunk 2077. I'm just saying there are too many similarities for my Alex Jones tinfoil hat to be on right now.
I am so with you. I don't want it I don't want it to be like that.
I don't want it to be that way either. As someone who has completely gotten every achievement for Halo 3 and Halo ODST,
great game.
I don't want it to be bad either. I grew up with Halo. Halo was one of the first Xbox games I ever played. Halo was one of the things that kept me and my friends together every Friday night. Halo is what I play every Friday night on my stream and my channel. So it's like, I don't hate Halo. I don't hate 343. I want them to do the best possible thing they can do. This is just not a really good visual for a lot of people. And you're saying all these things and doing these things.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, we have to remove this content for later. Oh, it'll be part of the next season. Okay, no. Now we're making this whole a service game. Okay, what are you doing to Halo exactly? Because nobody really knows. Maybe you don't even really know. And now multiplayer is free, but kind of battle passy, but not really battle. But we don't even really. We had a flight, but it was against bots, and it's like, okay, what is really going on these last 6 or 7 years?
Yeah, I mean, the documentary about that would be amazing, but I don't want to be too skeptical. I think it could. I still genuinely think it could be a great game. But sorry, Cole, can I just reach out to the Dan Otaku super chat? He says you can't compare Infinite to older Halos.
Yes,
the campaign has never been this big. But in fact, take that point.
Finish
That's
what he
why
said.
it hurt.
He said.
Oh, sorry.
And
then
he said.
Yeah, and
Go
he said. Sorry, the campaign has never been this big, and every Halo has been on the same engine since CE. Facts, fine. But this, yeah, if you look at the Halo now, look at the campaign being this big and being open world. That's why it hurts that co-op isn't there. The game is screaming for co-op. Look at the way the semi-open world game is. Like you have a Warthog with all these 3 empty seats. Oh, you can have the NPCs in there, but that's why it hurts more to us. And I know it's frustrating. Clearly, it is for people to have. And then they say, not me, but you guys, prominent Xbox people who are against it. But it comes from a position of passion. We want 343 and Halo to release in its best possible format. So no one has an excuse to hate on it. No one has an excuse for games of services, a Game Pass or anything. I just want Halo to be mad.
Right. Well, let's get into this, guys. I kind of had this as a side pocket plan. I want to give shout out to PS360 HD2, who says these guys talking on the show drama queens.
Drama sells.
I mean, drama sell. I'm very reasonable. Like, let's talk about this. This is an impromptu. I'll go with Alex first. I feel like the loud voice in the gaming media, the gaming community, is not okay with delays. Like, personally, deep down, they may say a delayed game is a good game, eventually be better, or else the whole quote that we said a million times, right?
The Shigeru
I
quote,
really feel deep down that the large voice in the gaming community on social media or in YouTube comments is personally not cool with delays. And if they could reach out to developers and make them release the game as promised in its state that it's currently in, they would use that power.
Okay,
Alex, what do you think?
So they would be there. They don't want delays, which is true because we've seen that discourse quite often. But then when the game's bad, broken, and buggy, they're mad too.
Of course.
So look, it's just like it's a rule of 3, right? You can only pick 2. Either you get the thing you want at a lower price, you get the thing that's actually done right, or you get it done quick. You can't get all 3. You only get 2. Either it's expensive and it gets done right, or it's expensive and it gets done quick. You don't get to pick all 3. You only get 2 out of the 3. That's the issue. And the thing is, like, people don't understand that. And I get it, right? A lot of gamers, TM, are sometimes acting like petulant children. Like, sure, I get it. And people are like, oh, I want the thing that you want now. All right, great. I would love to have that thing. But I've got a backlog of 600 plus games on my Steam library that I have more than enough capable of spending my time on before the game comes out. And I'd rather have the game be done right the first time than actually go through and wait 6 months for content that should have been there in the first place.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Sorry, I went on a rant right there.
What do you?
I echo Alex's sentiments, and it's annoying sometimes that we're the outlier here. But a lot of people are trying to ban us from saying this, which is so bad. Some content creators are saying, "Don't stop it. Don't critique 343." Why not? Because you're not capable of handling discourse. This is it. I understand your view. And I'll say this. The majority have spoken in polls and all sorts. We've done it. They don't want Halo to be delayed. So that's fine. They're right. Release Halo, for better or worse. But, if it doesn't bang... Oh, the source video is going to be so
if it's bad.
Oh, if it's bad. I swear to God, I'm taking
what was Ben
names.
Affleck saying?
What's
Yeah,
Ben
right?
Affleck saying? It's passion. Look, at least we're calling it out. At least we're having a debate about it, right?
Yes,
At least it's not an
yes.
echo chamber. We are generating a really healthy conversation about it. I think it's healthy.
I know that 343 has had like every studio who is in the last 6 months or last year of development, they're going through heck. You know, they're going through hell
Yeah.
trying to get the game to come out. So that's not unique to CD Projekt Red or Halo. One of the things when we talk about CD Projekt Red, Alex, is that I think it rolls downhill. I think the investors and publishers wanted the game to hit for quarter whatever, and the developers pretty much got to the point where they didn't have a say. And if they had a say, they would have asked for 6 months or maybe another year. Right now, we're seeing a year during the pandemic wasn't enough. So it's not always the same situation. I've got a couple super chats that will kind of close up this Halo discussion. Risk It for the Biscuit, a new friend who's been checking out the channel. He's awesome. I've been watching him on other podcasts. He says, Gaz, are you still bashing 343? And he puts the laughing cry emoji.
Love Risk It. Shout out Risk
Yeah,
It.
he's awesome. Let's see. Chris R. with the $5 super chat. Thanks, buddy. He says, I want to see campaign. Yes, I do too. However, I am okay with them dedicating all resources to bug fixing rather than dedicating some to making a preview demo. So he's talking about why we haven't seen it lately. That bothers me. I want to see it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, I guess I'll do one more because this one's about 343, and then we'll move on to the other subjects. Risk It for the Biscuit with the $8 Australian super chat says, there's definitely some issues over at 343, no doubt. But if Stanton's put his stamp of approval on the campaign, you've got to be positive about it. Yeah, good point, because he launched Halo ODST, which is one of my favorite Halos. Yeah. Alex, one of yours?
What if I told you ODST is the best Halo?
I would agree with you 1,000%.
That is the best Halo campaign.
What a load of...
It's true. It's the
music,
Halo campaign.
The music, the atmosphere, the pacing between alone and big battles, like it's incredible.
It's the best campaign.
We are like just now getting the show starting, so we got to keep it moving. Let's talk. This is a super spicy conversation, but
I'm
let's
sorry,
have this one.
my Discord showed up. That's what it is.
I love it. This is so saucy. This is what I live for.
Let's have this really spicy, saucy conversation. This might be pretty quick, but the Telegraph National Newspaper Online Magazine put out a quick half-cocked article about how grown men shouldn't be wasting their time playing games. Gaz, kick it. You grown man, you.
Grown man, you know, I blame you for this, because if it wasn't for your Twitter timeline, I wouldn't have had to endure this visual diarrhea, that's what it was. Horrible article, such a hot take, and it didn't even follow through to the article ended on some next tangent. It's just really I was just like, it's one of those eye roll moments. This person is so bored that she gets vexed at. It's on the London Tube. It's for the people who don't know. It's a journalist who said that as she in her daily commute in the London Tube, the metro, whatever you guys call it in America, she's just annoyed by the patronizing messages like wear a mask or mind the gap, please. It's an automated message, mind the gap. So what? Like, what if blind people or people with accessibility, you don't think about that? It's just so silly. And then she's like, she got annoyed at a hashtag, which was hashtag something play. It was for Nintendo Switch.
Make playtime or something like that. Yeah.
Hashtag
which is make playtime.
Okay. So make playtime, set playtime, something like that. And it was messaged for Switch owners. She goes, and she started deriding what kind of, self-respecting adult would be playing that on the Tube. I've played it, Switch on the Tube. Self-respecting, maybe not, but I've seen other grown adults play video games all the time. And it's just. I mean, we shouldn't give it too much attention. This is a problem because that's what she wanted. But it's really a symptom of more evidence of people who don't understand the medium with their hot takes, and then we're left to read that and think, "Wow, what? You just don't get it. You just don't get it." But what can I say?
It happens a lot, doesn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Alex, are you a grown man?
What do you think
of
I'm
this
almost
take?
40. with a family and a home, and I think I'm doing okay. There's a term in the South, guys, that we use. You may not know it. I'm going to take the high road on this one, Colt. I just saw a picture of her. I just saw the article she's written. I'm just going to say, because I'm from the South. I'm just going to say, you know what? Bless her heart.
Bless her heart.
Bless her
I should have
heart.
saw that coming. Bless her heart.
Just bless her heart. You know, she's trying. She's trying to make it. Bless her heart.
She's trying harder. I don't know where she got a journalism degree from, but yeah.
Normally when you see
Oxford.
these things, like the comment section is like insulting the journalist or insulting the you know, like you'll get like the hot girl on Twitter who says, grown men, why are you still gaming? And then
that
guys
was trending.
attack her.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff happens. But I looked at the responses and everyone was like, actually, this is what, you know, this is our opinion, you know, which is good. One of the top comments was, gaming is literally the biggest industry. It's outpaced movies and TV in
a decade ago.
Yeah, it's like, it's big. And if you haven't caught on now, you ever get the people who are like, oh, I used to play video games. I used to play that Mario game. You know, people don't get it.
Yeah.
But it is silly. It is silly.
I don't tell you what to do with your spare time. Don't tell me what to do with my spare time.
I mean,
I got told what
watching
to do in my
Friends on
spare
Netflix.
time this weekend. Crazy. But yeah, it's silly.
Yeah. I feel like I've earned it at this point. I had a gap in my game. Alex shared a tweet about what consoles you started with and how you moved along the years. And there was like a 10-year gap where I wasn't playing games because I was going to college, starting a family. And then once I kind of got settled in, I'm like, I want to play video games again. And now my life is ruined. It's great.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about, I was going to get into this until that other chat, but let's talk about, this is kind of a strange one. So everyone's really upset about Saints Row, and some people are indifferent about Gotham Knights. I want to get your guys' take on, we're getting older, and some of the games are starting to look more Fortnite than Gears of War. Alex, I'll let you lead this one. Like, what did you have any type of response with Saints Row's showing, which is very polarizing?
For me, I just went, it's not for me.
Oh, okay, you're one of those guys.
That's I was like, it's not for me. That's pretty much what it is. Like I am really big into emulation. I don't mind older games. I might even sail the high seas sometimes, but like, if the game's not for me, I'm not going to get mad about it. I'm just going to say, okay, let's just play something else. Like, there's plenty to play. There's really nothing. I mean, yeah, it's definitely more Fortnite Gen Z-ish, which I get. They're trying. Yeah. That's who's the market now. We are old.
Oh,
time has caught up to us.
06 was Saints Row, and now it's 15 years later. What'd you expect?
Yeah,
Gaz, are you okay with these, or did you want to make a stand?
I'll make a stand. I'll make a stand because actually I really liked Saints Row 1 and 2. So for older people here, when Saints Row 1 came out, it's an unashamed GTA clone, but it had a kind of a toned down vibe. But it was really good. It was better than GTA 4 because it got the gamification right, whereas GTA 4 tried to mimic reality so much that it had forsaken good game mechanics for the sake of that, which is, I guess, is fine. It's a learning curve. But Saints Row had this art style which got so loony that I kind of lost favor with it. But Saints Row 1 and 2, I completed the stories, which just says a lot. And GTA I rarely completed, or took a long time to complete. I was hoping they would bring it back a little bit to a little bit more of the kind of gangster, old school vibe. There's a very big debate going on, like everything's politicized now, but they're like, oh, why can't these guys be gangsters now? I'm like, but the guy looks like a hipster. How is he gonna? Have you not been in the real world? Like, it doesn't make sense for old school people like us. It's like, and the game had a legacy with Saints Row 1 and 2. I find it jarring, the visual styles. It did look like very Fortnite-y, but
20-year-olds don't dress like they did in Saints Row 1 and 2.
Yeah, right? Yeah. It's just, but it's the demographic. It's where the market is. Unfortunately, we may be the dinosaurs. Is that right, chat? Are we the old ones, and we were
That's
just
a good
crying
question for the
about
chat.
it.
Like, do you feel like that you're getting so old that maybe these trends are like you're getting too old for some of the trends? It's
Yeah, maybe.
I don't think it's something you can be mad about, but it is one of those things where you're like, oh crap, how old am I?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I just look at it and I go, all right, there it is. I mean, there was a line I think in Gears of War, I forgot which one. I thought it was 4 or 5, where Marcus was like, "The older I get, the less I care." It was something like that, and I was like, I was like, that cuts close to the bone, man. That cuts close to the bone.
Yeah, he's got the gray beard and the one that you were running around the main campaign. Now he's sitting in a recliner while his son goes out and tries to save the world. Oh, we've really come that far. But now we're going to go into the segment that I want to call PlayStation Bad News Time. Now, this is an Xbox show. I actually should have said this from the outset. I can't stand it when you skim over to a PlayStation show and all they're doing is talking about Xbox. But you can't deny that PlayStation is in the news big time this past week, and they've got a big event coming up this Thursday, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But we're going to start off with Austin Evans, who just this past year has kind of been a little bit of an Xbox ambassador as he unrolled the Series X, and then he got a hold of a PS5. I'm going to start with Alex on this one.
Sure.
He got harassed, doxxed, and called all kinds of names. Did you follow this situation?
I did.
With Austin
People
Evans?
wanted me to make a video on it. The reason why I haven't is because for me to say someone has been doxxed, I'd like to at least see some sort of like proof or evidence about it, right? I don't want it happening to anyone, but I feel like just going along with it, I think is a very difficult thing.
That's a bold statement to make that he got doxxed. I mean, don't you think somebody
That's a bold statement to make.
shared his address or shared some personal information about him?
Right.
Or
And like, I don't want to go
say
looking for it. I don't want to be like, let me go find it, but I also don't like, I'm someone who's very like, well, I need to see like
The receipts.
please show me, if I'm going to call people out, like what are those people that did the doxing? Can we get the law enforcement involved? Can we get whatever else involved to it, on that side too? Like, I think it's very uncool that people do that. You shouldn't do that at all. But I also think like, I don't want to just go head first into something without having all the evidence on that, especially making a video on that too. That would just not be the right way to do it. I'd rather have everything, all my ducks in a row. That being said, fanboys are ridiculous and they do ridiculous things and they say ridiculous things and they behave in very ridiculous ways. And so I would not, the idea of them doxing him would not be farther than a stone's throw away from me. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Right. Sadly enough.
Austin Evans made. I'm sorry, guys. Go ahead.
No, go. Sorry, apologies.
No, go.
Yeah, go.
No, the whole point about you saying that you need to see evidence about it, it's not like it's directed at a particular individual, say he doxed me, and then you kind of need the receipts. But if it's a general statement, again, I agree with you, and I like that approach. Like, okay, don't just, because people make accusations all the time without evidence, but there's no person being held guilty. So if it's like a collective or some people have doxed me, then it's like, all right. And like you say, it's not from out of the realm of possibility. In fact, it's actually probably very likely it happened. Mm-hmm. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt there. Yeah. And fanboys can be fanboys.
Exactly.
But it's a good approach to have, though, Alex. And it's a reminder to a lot of people, don't ever treat everything as gospel. You're innocent until you're proven guilty. But that's, people, maybe better.
They'll believe the sensational first. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's difficult to pull that away.
Yeah.
It is once it's been said. He said something in that video. He alluded to, he didn't exactly quote it, but he alluded to the most toxic community. And he was talking in respect to how he was treated by PlayStation fans. Now, this was all, I'm sure everybody here watching knows the reset, but Austin Evans got a hold of the new updated PS5. It ran slightly hotter out of the exhaust. There's less material and less expensive material in the heatsink. So it's a slight downgrade, but my stance is I'll bet you the failure rate is identical, super low to the launch model. But he said you're technically getting a worse console. He said that the PlayStation fans were the most toxic community, so to speak, as he was treated because he got attacked big time by making this claim. Did you guys watch his little explanation of how
You're so bad, Alec, Colt. You want us to say the PlayStation community is the most toxic, and you're right.
I will lead a horse to the water?
No. So you know what? I think a close contention would be the Nintendo fan base.
What?
Maybe. He's
What?
onto something. No.
No
He's
way.
right. Go on,
I've never
Alex.
been wrong in my life.
There's
I think
a Nintendo
I
fan
think the
base.
Nintendo fans, or the fanboys, excuse me, are.
Why? What do they have to protect? They've got the best, historically best platform that has only had one low spot for a brief 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
They have the best high rating. What are they worried about?
They are ravenous, my friend.
Really?
Ravenous.
Against who?
Anyone and everyone. I had one. I found one tweet today where it was someone saying, "I hope Nintendo shuts down Yuzu after the Sonic Colors Ultimate situation." And it's like these are the same people that get excited when Nintendo shuts down an emulation site.
Oh wow.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
So we're talking some real serious, drinking the Kool-Aid type of people. But I think every fan base has their toxic people. Even PC, every people on PC,
yeah.
I'm on it, and people are like, Team NVIDIA, Team AMD, and I'm like, shut up, they're graphics cards, you stupid.
I can't believe you're using it.
You should have gone an AMD CPU because it's the better one because it's got 16 cores and 35 threads and it's red. Shut up. Which one makes the game go burr?
Gosh.
That's the one I want. That's
in my experience over the past 5 years, I'm the big Xbox fan, so obviously I'm gonna see the PlayStation toxicity coming my way.
Yeah.
Deservedly so sometimes. People edit that out. No, I'm just joking.
Sure.
But yeah, I've seen it so many times. But I can say, let me say something bold. I could say that PlayStation is the most toxic because there's toxicity on both sides. But I think there's more PlayStation fans than there are Xbox fans. So I'll take that to superior
you could even use Google Analytics to prove that because the PS5 is being searched for far more than any other console.
Sure. Yeah.
You can even use that as a trend because you could just see all those things happen across the board. And going back to Austin Evans, I think what happened was I think his methodology for testing was flawed. And I think also that what we're looking at is, let me give you an example. My CPU idling runs at about 46 to 50 C idling.
Okay.
Not even under load.
Yeah.
That PS5 was running at 55, 56 under load. It's doing a good job. It's doing a good job, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're not worried about the PS5 red ringing.
A difference of 3 or 4 C, 8 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm not even batting an eye. My CPU, when I'm rendering content, goes to 75 C.
I don't even look at mine. I do 4K 60 high bitrate rendered.
Yours is probably going
crying. It's probably crying.
It's
your
crying.
PC.
So the thing is, I don't even look at CPU temps until we're hitting the 90s, boys, in Celsius.
Right? That's true.
If it's not hitting the 90s in Celsius, I'm not even looking at it. I don't give a damn.
Kirby Louise says, "Clean your cooler if your CPU is that hot idle." he's big.
I got a i7 8700. That bad boy runs hot. Period.
Yeah, once it melts its way out of the board and shoots against the sheetrock, then I'll know that I've gone too far.
Yeah, but I mean, if we're looking at 55, 56 C under load, I'm not sweating for that PS5, man. That thing's going to do just fine. If we're looking at all the other stuff too, I would honestly wait for something like Gamers Nexus for them to do their testing so that way we can see it there. I think the problem isn't the fact that it's 55, 56C. I think the problem is that people are going to take that 55, 56C, shove it in their entertainment center, close the door on it, and then it
Yeah,
becomes
that's
85C with no ventilation, and it's just sucking in hot air and blowing out hot air, and now you've got a problem. But that's with literally every single
We
console.
haven't even heard anything. It's been 9 months. We haven't heard any problems.
Not a
both
single
the consoles
one.
are doing great.
From both. So that means that both their cooling systems are fine, and I guarantee you that the PS5 is probably sitting under a perfectly fine threshold of heat dissipation or even heat generation for that system. Because if they tried to do the same thing, if they did what Microsoft did for the 360, where the thermal paste would be coming off, then that's a problem. Right? But even then, like, it's probably tested fine. Aluminum, sure, is not as great of a heat conductor as copper. The surface area, sure, is smaller. But we're talking about a better designed fan because the fan in there is really bad. But my concern isn't with the CPU. It's with the RAM on the opposite end of the board that doesn't get any cooling.
Yeah.
I got to highlight. I got to highlight D-Wall. Crud, the chat's going so fast. D-Wall Vander Kolf says, the chat talking about fanboys. These are three of the most toxic fanboys there are.
Yeah, you got it. Absolutely toxic. Look,
now,
man,
I'll remind you.
Go ahead.
I won't speak for myself, but I'll remind you, Gaz, I have never seen Gaz call someone a name or, rake them across the coals. And I've definitely never watched, oh no, it's Alex, call people names in his videos. We all need to remember, I saw a tweet today, Alex, you liked it. Somebody said I should get MBG on here. And I've been kind of watching MBG do his thing. And they're like, he's toxic. And I know sometimes we think someone who likes a system better than the one we like and champions it or cheerleads it, and doesn't like the other one, that it's automatically toxic. Keep in mind the way that people treat other people is really where toxicity comes from. But as we're talking about the heat of those CPUs, or the systems, I have to get into the heat of the. We'll just sidestep that. We gotta get into the heat, the hot heads of the PlayStation guys, as Guerrilla Games and PlayStation and Sony said, we want to charge you extra to buy the PS5 version of Horizon Forbidden West. This conversation could have been almost over, but Jim Ryan took a stand, said we're gonna give you a pass on this one, but the rest of the games, still. I don't know. I'm gonna stop because you're still going. I don't want to be rude. I'm literally backing up in my chair right now. I know. I saw, and I'm tapering off so that when you rock back into your mic, you're ready to go. If you took a breath, Alex, take us away.
How on earth are you really going to defend a company charging you $80 to have the game going from PS4 to PS5? And even then, having the audacity to be thankful that the company is then charging you $10 to get the PS5 version when you have the PS4 version, okay, of their other games coming up or their games in the past, their little director's cuts, right? If you're saying that the $60 PS4 version is $60, I'm sorry, if you're saying the PS4 version of a game is $60, but the PS5 version of the game is $70, what is the difference between the two? Frame rate and resolution. You're telling me that's worth $10?
I mean, you're a PC guy.
So every time,
if you went and bought a 3090
GPU, I'd have to buy a new version of that game to play on my GPU.
I mean, Alex, they're telling you go buy if you can get a hold of a PS5. That's another problem. If you can get one, it's $500 or it's $400. Once you paid that, we want to charge you a greatness tax to play the full version. Like, how is that flying?
And the thing is,
Xbox isn't doing it.
People are using the defense of like, well, in the previous generations, we would have the cutoff. Sure.
Right.
In the previous generations, we weren't using x86 PC architecture, and we weren't using the specifically things designed to be basically played across generations like we have right now. We all had the cell processor, then the emotion engine, and PS1, whatever they had in there. So we're looking at all these different types of game design, hardware design. But now it's homogenized. Literally in your consoles is just AMD APUs that are just circuit boards for PCs, and they put everything together. Surprise. You got a PC is what you've got with just a UI of the actual console system there. There's really no difference anymore. So now, why am I paying a $10 tax for a game that could literally run on the old system that I could put in the new system? I should just be able to put that game in the new system and have it run. It's almost like if it's kind of smart. Don't you think, Colt?
It is kind of smart. I'm going to ask Gaz, because one of the justifications, Alex, that they use for this, I'm going to ask Gaz this one, is they say, what, Colt, you don't believe in paying developers for the work they're going to do on two systems?
Oh, my God.
What do you think they've been doing? Gaz, tell me your opinion on Guerrilla Games has to build the game for PS4 and PS5, and that's their justification. They need to be paid for it.
Come on,
There's
man.
more layers to this.
I love just this new term, dual entitlement. It's like they create this term. It's so amazing, isn't it? It's
Which one's better, smart delivery or dual entitlement?
Smart delivery is a way better term. That was
Dual
absolutely
entitlement.
workshopped.
Yeah, I know. Shade to the people who made fun of smart delivery. They are eating crow in the bucket loads. But this dual entitlement thing, it was almost as if it was designed by Sony to get their PlayStation hardcore to unapologetically accept this term so that they can deploy it and say, hey, you're not just entitled, you're dual entitled. How dare you ask for a PS4 and PS4 and PS5 version? It's ridiculous. But the funny thing is, there was actually explicit gross misrepresentation because you had express statements to the contrary from Jim Ryan about what was going to happen. What made me laugh, I think, Alex, you picked up on this. There were some people when started contorting themselves to do some mad justification for this multi-thread Twitter thread on one guy.
This guy did. We're talking about the same guy. It was
he did
19 tweets. 19 tweet thread about this guy, how people were lying and doing misinformation. And the very next day, Jim Ryan goes, I'm sorry, I lied.
When he was done, the pom-poms are just 2 sticks.
Yo, this whole narrative relied upon him saying, it's not a launch game. You guys are getting it wrong. And I've got the quote here from the press release. It was like, whilst the pandemic's profound impact pushed Forbidden West out of the launch window we initially envisaged. Boom, mic drop moment. And that guy's face must have been like, oh, come on, man.
No, he's doubling down, by the way.
Oh, my God. Why am I surprised? Oh, my God.
Doubling down. It is.
And there were so many people. There's so many people doing the exact same thing. And they were doing on your channel, Alex. I think you pasted a comment on that. And to be honest, it's ridiculous. But we have to give a shout out to... So we were having this conversation on Saturday evening while the news broke, but we didn't realize it. The question was whether Sony would actually do a U-turn, and my argument was they would, because they cannot ignore the core sentiment. Because you even had MBG, and no shade to MBG saying even MBG, but MBG is a hardcore PlayStation fan. Nothing wrong with that. But he called him out, and some other people call him out. You even had, I won't name names, but they were calling out. Modern Gaming Nation was calling out. That was almost unanimous. Almost unanimous that they called it out. That was that much of an egregious breach. So respect to those that did, but there were a few that didn't, and I can't believe it, man.
Quite
like
a
people
few who didn't.
Yeah,
that was the problem. Is a lot of the voices we were seeing were defending it.
Yeah,
Alex, can you talk about as we kind of open it up? Like they say, Guerrilla Games has to build the PS4 and the PS5 version, but you've got these other developers who make an Xbox One, an Xbox Series version, a PC version, sometimes a Switch version, and a PS4 version, and a PS5 version. They're doing at least 6 different versions. Plus, with PC, there's different configurations. They have to keep in mind, you got to make sure that, talk about this. Can you explain this to people, what you think developers are going through?
They're probably going through a nightmare. They're probably going through a nightmare. Just even on the PC side alone, between AMD drivers, NVIDIA drivers, all that other wackiness, all those other things on that end, because there's so many configurations on the PC side that you can definitely do. The driver side does help. Windows does help, all that other stuff too. But we're looking at so many configurations on how a game will run. The driver version that they're going to be using, is AMD or NVIDIA going to be sponsoring that game to then put their kind of tech in that game, which then does all that other wacky stuff like NVIDIA Hairworks in Witcher 3, which is a big one. And that screwed over AMD people as well. There's so many things that happen. And guess what? The games were still $60.
Yes, I'm glad you. I was going to ask you to get into that too.
If we're making a PS4 version, a PS5 version, a Switch version, a PC version, and across all that myriad of landscape as well, and the game is still $60, why on earth am I paying $10 more for a video game that should be $60? And if you're telling me That's $10 more for the PS5 version. So what does that tell me? That the PS4 version is a bad version of that game? What makes the PS4 version worth 60 and the PS5 version worth 70? Just the fact that it has the 5 on the box. There's really nothing in there between just increased resolution, frame rate, maybe some other little bits of things here and there, or my controller does the thing when I do the thing. Oh boy,
yes.
You know what I do?
You're so good.
You know what I do with vibration? I turn that jump right off. You
know exactly where I'm headed.
I use this one. I use this monstrosity. You see this thing? Nobody uses this. I'm the only one who uses this. This thing is a nightmare to use.
Why would anybody I wanted to buy that. It doesn't look very nice. Oh my god!
Why did you buy that?
It's honestly amazing.
It's got the touch. Yeah, pads your thumb.
But nobody uses it.
I'm so glad you said that, Alex, because I was going to tell you. I was going to ask you about this because one of the other arguments is that we're paying for the haptics and the 3D audio and the resolution and ray tracing.
So don't put it in there.
What are developers going through to get an extra layer of haptic feedback in their games? Is it another $10?
That's nonsense, man. It's nonsense. It's a nonsense argument. It's a tax. That's what it is. A next-gen tax. That's what it is. And when your competition is doing the complete opposite, it just makes it less. It's just not justified. Whoever's making the argument, you're just being an idiot. I'm sorry. You're just stupid. You can't justify that. And the Witcher argument is perfect from Alex. How many platforms across so many varying degrees they have maintained their same price?
And they're even doing they're doing the update for The Witcher 3 on the next gen consoles. Mm-hmm. For guess how much money?
How much? $60?
$0.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, nothing extra. Why? It's just silly.
Well,
what are we doing?
I mean, think about it. If you're running PlayStation, if you're going to make an extra $10 on all your first-party titles, it's going to add up. You're going to make a lot of money. But I don't even want to get into the excuse that it's hard during the pandemic to be able to afford a next-gen console, let alone be able to find one because of the situation. But it's your own consumer base. You're charging them a tax. Thank you for buying a $400 or $500 console. Oh, by the way, all of our games we're providing for you an incentive to get the console instead of getting a PC or an Xbox is to charge you an extra $10. Now all our games are $70. And I had one of the big PlayStation guys that likes to jump in a lot of the chats on podcasts. He was telling me on Rand's podcast, I think, or maybe I was on Fonz's. There's a great podcast out there, by the way. Shout out to Games Talk Live. Shout out to Game On Daily and Xbox 2. I'm always watching theirs. And RDX. All these great podcasts. Just too many to name. But anyway, what was I saying? The PlayStation guy was like, just wait, Colt. They're going to change all the prices on Xbox. 70 is going to be the norm, in a year or so. And I'm like, what?
I hope
why would they do that mid-generation?
It could happen, though.
It could happen?
Oh, absolutely, man. Look, Microsoft are in business of making money as well. If Sony are doing this with little resistance, that could potentially spill over to Xbox. It really could. And
I don't think anything out of the possibility.
Yeah.
I don't think anything's out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
Especially being from where I'm from and having to deal with things like games for Windows Live or
games
the
for
Xbox.
Windows Live.
Yeah, that's a whole thing people forgot about. Or the Xbox.
Do you think PC
Windows
games
Store.
are going to jump up to 70, Alex? I feel like they're going to hold the line.
I think what'll happen is, well, look, I say we, really we'll just pirate your game. We're just gonna pirate it.
I always wonder, the PC guys we won't stand for it. We're just gonna. They also brandish a firearm and say, "We'll just go to Pirate Bay."
We'll just take it. I mean, let's be real. Or we'll wait for a real sale and we'll pay, $3 for it, and then that's it. Whatever. We got plenty of things to do. We have plenty of games to play. Really isn't a problem over here. If you want to earn our money, then you should, do the things that PC gamers want. Provide good mouse keyboard support, actual menus, provide graphical options. All those things that we look for on that port, hey, we'll pay the money for it. Don't put any obtrusive DRM in there, like Denuvo, Capcom.
Yeah.
Because all you're doing is hurting yourself and the game itself. So, I mean, really, if we don't like it, $70, well, guess you're going to get no dollars. That's pretty much
what happens. One of the biggest communities. PC gamers are outnumber the or as I would say, they're if you take the Nintendo, Xbox, and PlayStation guys, there's just about as many PC guys, so they're a big voice. Well, let's take a breath from this, and the next thing we're going to get into is the dire death. Rest in peace, for the Xbox platform this week. So take a moment of silence for Xbox as they get absolutely killed this week by PlayStation. We'll get into that in a minute. But let's talk. I got a couple super chats. These guys are amazing. We got Hargit Chani who says, have you all played Halo Wars 2 to prep for Infinite? And to Alex's point, should Infinite be $30 instead of $40 since it's campaign only? Or I think maybe it'd be better if Hargit Chani said, do you think Halo Infinite's campaign should be $30 instead of free? That's good. If I can.
Would it be 30 instead of free? Yeah, I would take that a little bit more than actually 60, having a lot of features incomplete. If they were like, you know what, hey, look, these things are missing $29.99, I'd be like, all right, it'd be an easier pill to swallow. But my whole thing is like, if I'm going to give you the full amount of money for the game, I expect a full product. And I think that's just a regular consumer perspective.
It should be. It really should be. Yeah. Hargit Chani has another $5 super chat. It says, talking about grown men gaming, you shouldn't have to justify you passed your time to anyone unless you're breaking the law. Gaz, do you do anything that you need to confess to the audience here that you do that to pass the time that's breaking the law? Go ahead, just tell them.
I went to a festival yesterday, and Twitter didn't like that. We're not in lockdown in the UK. Stop, get your head out of your own backside. Some people were really bad about that. I was like, when you come out of lockdown, there's hope for you. By the way, in America, I know there's a lot of people are down about the Delta variant. There's hope. Be safe, be careful, but there's hope. I see a lot of people down because you went a second. You guys are a few months behind. Yeah. It'll get better. I know a lot of people are getting depressed, and there's anxiety and depression. These are serious issues. Please know, things will improve.
And on top of that, guys, like, we're fighting about video games nonstop. Like we have no chance of happiness. Me myself, like, as news slowed down and like things have been quieter on my channel, like, to make hot news videos, there isn't a lot of hot news. Thank goodness for Alex for having fun with calling out bad takes on Twitter. But you get a little bummed. Like, we were celebrating a lot of new stuff. Now we're just waiting for games to come out. So in retrospect,
I think what we like about us content creators is, while we do dip in the console wars, I love the console war stuff. Look at this. This is designed for the console wars, and Paris doesn't like it, and I understand that. But we make it fun. It's a meta game for us. Laugh at it. Laugh at yourself and just enjoy it. I like that. It's saucy. It's nice, isn't it? I don't know why I'm talking about this.
I've definitely been guilty of taking it too personal for sure.
I used to take it too far. And sometimes I might dip into it. It's human nature. But at least we admit it. And we try to be
I've worked
nice.
my way through it. Like, a couple of years ago, I would respond to Alex with a wrestling gif, like a guy suplex or elbow drop, because he's like into that stuff. And that's like, Alex doesn't know that, but that's my way of coping with, Colt, calm down, take a breath. It's all good. Like, we all are cool. It's gonna be okay. And then he puts me in a chokehold, and I have to tap out.
A little one. It's a little one. I think too, right? Like, I know. So I think that's why, like, the content I make is a little bit different. I'd rather, instead of being like directly, because fanboys will do this thing that, like, oh, you're ugly, you're stupid, whatever. And I'm like, all right, well, you know what? What is the line that I'm not going to cross? I'm not going to say horrible things about them personally. Oh, you're stupid is the most that I'll say, or I'll call them dumb, or I'll do like that. But I think that, like, I think the best way of really just making people feel, when I was a kid, we call it crunchy. You just be like, like that, like, just get mad.
Jason Schreier will come after you. Don't say crunchy like that.
Crunch them up, right? That's funny.
Crunchy
is really just to break down their argument altogether and just poke holes in it, because then they can't do anything about it. They're just like, they have nothing to say, and then all they're going to do is just get mad. And and the angrier that they get, the more you're right, and you're like, I gotcha. So I think that's really the whole thing there. And I think it's whether you have the energy for it. Someone like Paris probably doesn't have the energy for it. He's got so many other things going on, and it gets old. And I think, like, for me, I was like, where can I make this funny?
Like, for me, it's an art form. I would transfer that into absolutely. Me and you are the same.
And let's do it in a different way, so it's entertaining. That even if you're getting, so I've gotten things from fanboys who are like, "Am I in your video this week?
Oh, that's cool.
Am I in it this week? Am I?" And I'm like, "No, you're not in it this week." They're like, "Oh man." Yeah. So it's like it's stuff like that, like or who's he gonna walk off on, or who's gonna be in it, or stuff like 100%. That. And like I try to do it in a way that there isn't. I mean, my community is pretty cool. We're pretty like I'm trying to find the right word. Lewd. So it's not like you're gonna get like harassed if my people see my stuff around there. Like it's not like that. So we just make fun. And it's all, but I think it's just like it's how you approach. It's a style you approach it. For Tanga has a much different style.
Yeah, and I'm trying
his style is more abrasive.
I mean, I take my content seriously. Like when I make my production, I want it to be the best. Like I make it. I want it to be really good, and I want to try and get the information as best to my knowledge. So if somebody attacks me, I'm like, hey man, I was trying to make a really good. I'm trying to back off of that personal attack. But, it takes its work in progress. I mean, shout out to Kurt5150, my brother in the chat. He says, oh, look, Gazon Daily is here. Hashtag sauce. If you're watching the show.
Is that your brother?
Yeah, my brother. I got the 5150 over here, the Eddie Van Halen guitar. Yep. We both built our own side-by-side in this room last summer, was it? Crap. Yeah, we did that. That's a really cool thing to do after Eddie Van Halen's passing. Mm-hmm. But we got a couple super chats here, so we'll get into the death of Xbox. Kylo Ren, the $5 super chat. Thank you. He says, I'm nearly 50, so he's got me on age. Thank goodness. He says, I've been playing games since Pong. My kids have grown, had their own kids. I have more time to play games than I ever have, and I am. So I have to wonder, like, when we'll get too old to where we can't make those twitch movements on Hades.
You'd be surprised. Like, even right now, I think if you've grown up with it, it's just part of you, and you're easier to go along with it. Because
I'm intrigued about that. So the only thing for me is, I would say reaction time would be the only thing, would be the hard part. Because so I play Counter-Strike Global Offensive. I play CSGO.
Still.
Yeah. Okay.
That is a game that is not for the old, right? That is a young man's game. But I hold my own, pretty good because I grew up with Quake. I grew up with Quake. I grew up with, CS 1.6. I grew up with all that stuff. So for me, it's like, all right, it's just second nature. I might have to adjust my aim a little bit, or my return, or how I aim in games specifically. Yeah. But that's the only adjustment I've made. Like I think I'm a better gamer now than I was when I was younger. Yeah. Because I'm also less dumb.
Yeah. It's true though. There's like game knowledge. It's like positioning, things like that. You compensate for maybe your reaction time. There's also a battle of attrition. You get tired a little bit more quicker as you're older.
I got to give a shout out to Lethal Papa. I don't know if he's here tonight, but he's a mod and a good friend. He said on Twitter that he turned 65. That dude can fully drift and Forza Horizon, like rack up the score like no other. Like he's always been playing and playing and playing. He's proof that you can get a little bit older and you can still game like a champ. He plays so many games, has a really high gamer score every month because he just loves what he does. Nolan Baptiste gives the Canadian $10 super chat. Thanks, Nolan. He says, games have no age. That writer just needs her blessings.
Yeah, bless her heart.
Bless her heart. There's the southern saying, just penetrating.
Our buddy Risk It for the Biscuit goes back to the Halo thing and the toxic fanboys. He says to Gaz, Halo haters are the most toxic fanboys, Gaz. Boy, there are subsets, right, Alex? The Halo group is so passionate about sprint and aim down sights and delaying because of co-op. I got called all kinds of names as a big Xbox fan. All of a sudden, that allegiance was invisible to them. That allegiance, right? It sucked. I mean, I didn't take it personally. It was a great weekend. My wife and I we had our 22-year wedding anniversary, so we were out for the weekend, and it was happening. I was looking at my phone. I go, there's better things going on. So,
mate, I was here like this as every insult came in. I was like, yeah, let's go deep.
What you gotta do is post and ghost.
Post and toast.
Post and ghost.
Post and ghost.
Let me post this, okay? And phone goes off.
And mute this conversation. Or it was a great one. As soon as I start seeing hate, that's what I've learned. It's like, I'll mute this because sometimes sometimes people will get mad at that one thing and they may take a strike, but 99% of the time they were cool with you. So, why act out? But Donataku says those crazy Nintendo fanboys are few and far between. The majority of us fans know the strengths and weaknesses and don't compare to what Nintendo consoles maybe. It's like, the Nintendo Switch would be something I would use if it got more big games that I like. I would kind of
you get a Steam Deck?
Buy.
I'm going to get a Steam Deck.
Gaz got one.
Did
you get one, Alex?
I got one.
We have forgot about the Steam Deck.
Steam is going to be
reserved
mad.
right now. They got them.
They got
Okay.
it? Still?
They got it. It's reserved. Yeah.
I forgot about that. Was like the talk of last month, and then it got quiet. We're waiting for people's waiting for the orders to come in.
December, yeah.
Hargeet Chani gives a $5 super chat. Hargeet, thank you so much for checking out the show. He supports. He says, Alex, do you see the Nintendo fanboys going against other consoles or just things like emulation sites? PlayStation fans go after Xbox all the time.
Yeah, because they got nothing to play.
Oh.
Are you
What's
mean
out
PlayStation
right now?
fans have nothing to play?
What do they got to play?
Yeah.
What do they
In
gotta
2
play
weeks,
right
they have Kena Bridge of Spirits, and
Okay,
then
that's
they've
on
got
PC.
Deathloop.
now? That's also on PC.
Oh, don't do the PC thing. You'll make the Xbox fans mad too.
Oh man, yeah. I'm doing. I mean, like for real, I can't wait for a good PlayStation game to come out so that way Twitter can just be quiet for a week.
Oh, yeah.
Or a day.
Yeah. Well, let's just go into it. I do have some more supers. These guys are great. But let's go into the death. As you set that up, Alex. Let's go into the death of Xbox because this Thursday there is a PlayStation event. And this is kind of a trolly tweet, but I'm going to read these predictions for the PlayStation event. And we're going to have a great laugh. Are you ready?
Oh,
I'm
okay.
ready.
Okay, here we go. PlayStation event predictions for Thursday.
Okay.
Spider-Man 2 gameplay and release date and pre-order. Rockstar acquisition.
What?
Blue Point
What?
acquisition.
I can see that.
Metal Gear Solid Collection. New Silent Hill game. Bloodborne 2.
Nope.
Returnal 2.
Nope.
Grand Theft Auto 6. Next Naughty Dog game.
Maybe.
God of War Ragnarok.
Action.
And Ubisoft acquisition.
What?
I don't think the guy was serious. I think the guy was just
okay.
like saying like his game predictions. But it was kind of funny. Like a lot of people took it as, "Why? Where are you getting this?"
That
let's
is
start
a
with
lot
Gaz.
of money being spent.
I honestly don't think Sony can afford to make those big moves yet. Maybe, Gaz. What do you think we're going to see at this PlayStation event? Because it's death for Xbox. And go.
Well, I don't know if it's death for Xbox, but I'm hoping it's going to be a good PlayStation show. This industry needs competition. I don't like a limp PlayStation as well. I like a little bit of sauce. So I'm hoping they show off God of War because that game is going to look epic one way or the other. I think that's a big win. If it's only a 40-minute show, by the way, so there's only finite amount of things they can show. God of War would be big. Blue Point is actually, very feasible if that got leaked, kind of in the promo material, and then they changed the Twitter handle to say we're fully independent, really strongly stating it, which kind of cut back the expectations, but that might actually happen. So Blue Point might, and a good fit for them. Spider-Man 2 could just be a name announcement, logo, and that would be megaton.
I still think it's early, but for that,
It's
I've had
early.
that argument. But
it's a megaton franchise. You can't deny that. Kojima thing, the Silent Hill thing abandoned. I'd love to see abandoned just for the tears. I don't think that's anything what people think it is. And I can't wait till that gets revealed. Oh, man, imagine if I'm wrong. It is all those things. It's not. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm more grounded in reality. I think it's going to be... but David Jaffe, the creator behind God of War and the legendary Twisted Metal... He says he knows, and he does know, he won't just say this, he knows of a game that's being worked on PlayStation that would make people go mad. I don't know what that can be. And he doesn't know if it's going to be revealed on Thursday, though, but he knows about it. And it says people go mental. It's that insane. I can't think of what it could
the chat's
be.
talking about Resistance coming back.
Some people said Resistance.
There's
A Big
some
Cloud
tweets
said
about
that.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
Insomniac? That doesn't sound right to me. I think it is.
Yeah,
I mean, they just kind of shut down the Killzone thing. Like, they put that to bed. Like they're not doing Killzone as far as we know. They shut down the site. Maybe that's like still in the waiting.
Colt.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Resistance is a big franchise for the PS3 era. Alex, what do you think? This is a 40-minute event, so how many games can they show? What do you think is bona fide to be there? And is Xbox dead?
If I were to make a guess, I'd probably say God of War has to make some sort of appearance. Hot take, I didn't like 2018. I thought 3 was better than 2018. Yeah. Hotter. You want a hotter take?
Super
you want a hotter take?
Yeah,
Devil May Cry 5 is better than God of War 2018.
Holy crap.
Yeah, it's
Ben Affleck.
That's a super hot take.
I need some DMT that you're taking, obviously.
Right? I think what we might see, if I were a betting...
Devil May Cry is such a great looking game and has a lot going on screen, but it's super weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, I went through and finished that. Half the time I was like, what? I'm like, I don't partake, as Gaz would say, but I felt like I did at times.
Yeah, you totally should when you play that game.
And now we know why you love it. Yeah.
I would have to say maybe I'd like Bloodborne to be on the PS5. That would be.
Why are they not talking about that? It's like they refuse to acknowledge that desire from millions of PlayStation fans.
And probably the whole the
surprise thing.
Disillusion of Japan Studio probably had a hand to play in that. So I'd like Bloodborne PS5. I don't think Bloodborne 2 is ever going to be earthed or unearthed. Sorry, Erica, I love you, but it's never gonna happen.
Shout out Erica.
Yeah.
Shout out Erica. It's never going to happen. She's going to kill me, but I don't think Bloodborne 2 is ever going to be a thing. She'll rub it in my face every day if it ever does, though.
I'm kind of feeling like that. There's always like a couple games where everyone is screaming from the rooftops that they'll pay money for it, and it just gets totally ignored.
Yeah.
Like Splinter Cell.
Yep.
Like that's just, there's those big games. Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you rebooting Saints Row? You know, that's volition. But you see it all the time. Like, why are we getting these games? Shout out to Linkle Batman in the chat. Grounded fan. He's pretty awesome. Let's see. We got. Let me grab a couple supers here. Yeah, you guys are amazing. Let's see here. Holy smokes, I went the wrong direction. Yeah. Oh, I wanted to ask you both. I'll start with Gaz while I get into those. I was kind of wanted to lead into, is this the death of Xbox? Like, Gaz, speak to us about what this means for diehard Xbox fans who had a really bad Gamescom as far as game showing.
That is good E3. They shouldn't be too spoiled. Thing is, PlayStation's bangers bang in a pretty saucy way. When they do deliver, they have that hard-hitting visual stuff. I'm really hoping PlayStation knocks it out of the park and puts pressure on Xbox. And I hope it's a great show. The whole thing about Xbox gonna die, I mean, I'll tell you this now, PlayStation guys are... The meme, wait for E3, got turned on its head. And PlayStation guys this summer were dying for events. Everyone was begging. So that meme is dead. But this could be an opportunity for PlayStation to redress the balance. And they could do that just by showing God of War. God of War looking sick could in a lot of people's mind, could beat the E3 of Xbox. So it depends. It's going to be weaponized. I love the drama. Xbox is not going anywhere. Xbox is going to strength to strength. I think they have the more exciting proposition, the more exciting games, and the talent that they've fostered in these beast studios. I think, in my opinion, it looks like Xbox going to win this hands down this generation. But I really want PlayStation to smash it out. I think when I say quantify a win... I'm not talking about hardware sales. I'm talking about, again, this is very subjective, in terms of the quality of the games they produce. Because the
pro consumer approach is like winning over the industry.
That's already won. That's won. Yeah. That game is done. PlayStation has shown unashamedly that it's for the players. Motto was badly designed for its console because of the number 4 in the previous gen, because that's not the case. It's not for the players. Xbox didn't need to do the things it did with a smart delivery, but it did. and PlayStation
they
has
did
not
because they
done
needed to
anything.
make goodwill.
I think they had to do it. I think Xbox
They had to do it, but they did it. PlayStation did the opposite, stayed quiet, and then reactionary the whole the way through. There's done so many of these things, like the controllers carrying forward. They didn't need to do it. Xbox did it. It doesn't operate in a vacuum, man. It's competition, so react accordingly. This is how you share games.
Yeah, some of that stuff they didn't need to do. It's just the right way to do it. Like anyone who's on any platform, like Alex said earlier, there was this blockade of architecture and compatibility, and it was the way it had to be. But now it seems like PlayStation thought, well, we've always kind of just kicked everybody out and done this. So they kind of carried this forward when they didn't need to, and they sort of looked at it as a monetization opportunity. But Alex, what do you think? I'm pretty sure PlayStation is going to have an amazing show.
Yeah, I hope so.
What do you think it's going to mean for PlayStation and Xbox? Like, it's not a vacuum, like Gaz says.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is going to happen after Thursday?
We'll have a lot of games to look forward to, regardless of what other platform you like to go on. So we've got a lot of stuff from Xbox, like Starfield, not Avowed. Avowed? Is it Avowed?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
From
Obsidian.
I call them Black Isle from Obsidian, but old school. But like you got stuff on that end, and I think it really just comes down to what games do you like to play.
Yeah,
and then that's really what it comes down to: is what games do you like to play? Do you like the third-person cinematic action adventure? Okay, you got Sony. Do you want these weird, like, try out all these different things with Game Pass on top of that, and then all these other IPs like Doom and shooters and like the bro culture and RPGs? You got it here. So I think everybody just makes out like a bandit at the end of the day, because you've got pretty much everything you want on both sides, and then it becomes fun. That's when I think console wars become fun, because it's like here are the list of great games we've got on each system.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, now that's a different conversation than this is just a system I like because it's got the logo. So it reminds me more of like, what I want to see is the N64 and PS1 era come back in terms of like console warring, because you've got like, man, we got Final Fantasy VII, we got Spyro, we got all this stuff. Oh yeah, we got Perfect Dark and GoldenEye and Mario and Banjo, and it's like you just like list banger after banger on both systems, and you're like, I guess I got to get both. You know, like that would be like the ideal console war for me. Is like
that is what's going to happen, Alex.
Look at this. Like that's what I would want.
It's going to be epic. It's good. This gen is going to be epic. That's exactly what's going to happen. You smashed it with the N64 PS1.
There's two problems with that, guys, and one is like the allegiance where there's like that a couple million people that will refuse to buy a PlayStation, or the other guys refuse to buy an Xbox. But then the people who are like going, you know what? Alex is right. Like, yes, they're making good points. I should buy both. Well, it's really hard to buy both right now.
It's hard to buy
even a Series X is hard to find. And if you want a PS5, forget it for a while. Now they're saying that if you want to get a console, it may not be normal until 2023.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
That's the
crazy
so
insane.
Yeah.
Well, at least with Xbox, they have options with xCloud and PC and stuff like that.
And it sounds like even with Sony, what they were talking about before from Jim Ryan, he's like other future first-party exclusives that are going to be cross-platform. So it sounds like even then, you're still going to have games that are going to be cross-platform from them as well. Because I'll tell you like this, I have a 2070 Super GPU. I didn't get the 30 series. I'm probably not going to get the 40 series.
Yeah, you're doing 1440p on everything, I'm sure.
On everything, just fine. 140, 100 FPS, 144 FPS, just fine. There's no need to upgrade. So it's like, I guess I got what I got. And then with DLSS, with AI upscaling, with all of this stuff, it's like, here we go.
It'll be even better. Well, what if you could pay an extra $10 and all the keys on your keyboard would rumble perfectly to the character?
I would smash that keyboard so fast over my knee.
Bang, 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 and all the keys
just one move, I'd snap that thing in half. Okay, here's a funny story. I bought a PS4 a while ago for just a couple of games, and I made the bet. I was like, all right, if Death Stranding comes to PC, I will throw my PS4 in the lake because it's worthless to me then at that moment in time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
6 weeks later, Kojima's like, yo, we're putting it on PC. And literally in the podcast I was on, I think Erica was there as well. I put my fingers into the PS4 and I just literally ripped it clean open in the middle of the show.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's the most wild thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
We got Tunde
Abimbola.
I tried to
Tunde Abimbola.
Wow, that was great.
That's my boy.
You know this
He's
name.
He's on my channel.
Okay, yeah, Tunde.
Can't see the
say it again.
success.
Tunde Abimbola.
Okay,
Is he Nigerian?
What Alex said.
That's
he said
Nigerian name.
it sounds like it, and it sounds like an awesome name. Like I'm going to
out.
take his name. Shout out to him for the Canadian $5 super chat. He says, I wish Sony would stick with crossplay like they did for Vita and PS3 games instead of dual entitlement. Yeah, well said. Kylo Ren with the $5 super chat says, when I asked why Sony can charge you for higher res and FPS, I was told, well, they're also giving us 3D audio, DualSense functionality, dear Lord. And then he goes the yikes emoji.
That's a yikes.
Yeah. Yodani Quizana. Yodani, I always say Quizdanza or something like I'm sorry. I read these things so fast, but Yodani says with the $5 super chat says, when their beloved PlayStation Studio titles get ported to PC, will Jim, this is his words, not mine, will Jim Ryan charge PC gamers $70 for the games on Steam and $10 for photo mode? That's joke. Finessed.
He can try.
Alex.
He can try.
Really? Will he put Horizon Forbidden West in a year and a half from now? I don't think they'll wait 3 years. I think it'll be about a year and a half. That's my prediction. Will Horizon Forbidden West come to Steam at $69.99?
That's a bold thing to do because not even Battlefield 2042 is $70.
There you go. There you go.
Like that'd be you gotta think about that before you come over to this side of the block and think you're gonna get away with that.
Yeah, you just
and they're
get
also taking a
pirated.
hit on Steam as well. Like they're taking a 30% hit.
30%, yeah.
Yeah. We got David Kirchhoff gives a €5 super chat. He says, Gamers Nexus thermal test PS5 Membot reached 90 degrees Celsius in the old version, so plus 5 degrees Celsius. I think that's not good. I am not a tech whiz, he proclaims. What do you think about that, Alex? Is that something
Let's wait for GN to get the teardown and do what they got to do. I mean, I would trust GN over a lot of other outlets and a lot of other
Gamer
people.
Nexus?
Yeah, GN.
What about Digital Foundry? Like a lot of these guys, console centric. Like they want to hear what Alex Battaglia and Richard Ledbetter have to say. Do you think that's another one to wait for?
I'd wait for that too, and then I'd cross reference between GN.
Okay.
Just to see what's going on. I mean,
and then bounce it off of whatever Gaz says.
I'm being very biased because PC guy, and I'm like, I want to see like the charts and the graphs and the numbers, and have it told to me by a guy with very long, flowy, curly hair and just very monotone voice, because that's gamer, you know. Or
well, like, what about Richard? I'm a big fan of Richard Ledbetter. Like he doesn't, he's cool. He's just no nonsense. He's
I like
nicest
him.
guy.
Yeah.
Have a cup of tea with Richard Ledbetter. I love the guys at Digital Foundry. I think they're awesome.
Yeah, they're very nice.
Great, yeah. But like I'd also like Jay's 2 cents. I'd bounce stuff off. I would do as many comparison points between whatever I can find. So I would take GN, Gamers Nexus, Jay's 2 cents, and probably Linus. Take their three, bounce it together, and then pull it off whatever DF says.
What if Gaz put his favorite hot sauce inside the PS5 and then ran the thermals? Would you watch that?
My hot sauce is hot.
So you could actually just, instead of using thermal paste, you can just use mustard.
For real?
Oh, really?
Yeah,
it's conductive enough?
Yeah, you can do it.
Wow.
Try that in my armpits.
Don't give Sony ideas.
We've got Jose Linares, who gave a $2 super chat, says the $10 goes to Sony, not the devs. No one is talking about that. How true is that, guys? The extra $10, does it go to Guerrilla Games?
I think we don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
And I think trying to make a claim about that is pretty silly. I would probably guess it goes to Sony's pockets more than anything because they're the publisher. They get the paycheck. They've already paid the developer, so.
Absolutely. That's another. Thank you, Alex. It's something that goes along with the whole you're not supporting with Game Pass and the $10 upgrade fee. It absolutely goes to the publisher first. We don't know what happens after the fact. There are bonuses that go out, and that depends on sales numbers, I think. We don't know a lot of like that. I like how Alex has the very legal answer to keep him out of court.
Yep.
Shout out to Alex for that. And shout out to Erica. Erica's for the wins, who gives a $5 super chat. Says, cheers to Colt, Gaz, and Alex. Here for the sauce. Oh, Gaz, look at you.
That's my wife.
You've made.
There's the
That's my
inside
wife.
joke.
I don't
there.
know. I really don't know what to believe
Do not
anymore.
talk to my wife. That's mine.
You know, before the
believe I fell for
show, Alex is busy doing a remodel. He showed me part of the work he's doing, like doing some great work. And I was scouring for pictures of who could possibly be this elusive wife. And all it was is pictures of Fertinga Place. So it didn't really work out for me.
That's literally he. You know, I've got a body pillow of him. He's not very tall though.
Did you order it from my site on Redbubble?
Yeah. What I want to do is
good
have his body pillow and then just your face on it. I got both. Exactly what
I love the off the rails. Donataku says a $10 super chat. Thanks, Don. He says Sony Showcase can't beat Xbox's E3. Well, unless every single game they show is at least Ratchet and Clank level. What made E3 so good was every game on Game Pass, and they even showed something. Okay, it was a win. I expect differently from PlayStation's event. They have some big stuff to show, and they've got a lot of deals. I've been talking to somebody who says that PlayStation is not afraid to buy big third-party multiplats and just pull them into the chest and hold them there.
Yeah, done with Call of Duty.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, is it timed exclusive completely, or what?
I mean, content for Call of Duty was kept on PlayStation for a while.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's their only recourse. That they'll resort to that. They can't do what Microsoft did. They don't have the wallet.
Microsoft did it with Tomb Raider.
Yes,
They did.
But
they also, well, I mean,
So-
of course
Sony's
they
doing
help
it
pay
with
for development.
Fist.
So Sony would be helping pay for development
there's
of a game.
Forspoken.
I'll tell you one that
Final
I'll
Fantasy.
tell you.
Yep.
Final Fantasy and Forspoken from Square Enix, right? So, what another thing I'm hearing behind the scenes is, what if PlayStation bought the rights for exclusivity, timed or full, for the next BioShock game? I'd be so
That'd be
not happy.
well. It depends how good the BioShock game is, because I thought BioShock Infinite was bad.
Oh
I really
my
liked it.
god!
It was
Infinite
What is
was.
wrong with you, Alex?
What if I told you?
What
What if I told you Infinite was absolute garbage of a story, and all they really did was just try and create
Take it out of the water
an
into the sky.
environment that they could just do other BioShocks in,
Yeah.
because the whole thing of like, oh, he's got it on his hand, look out, he's the real racist, who's the real bad guy? It's you. Oh, you're a Compton.
Oh.
What's his name? Compton. What is it?
Yeah.
You're really just
Comstock.
Comstock. You're gonna fight yourself. You're the bad guy, and then you just let your daughter go in the portal. She's got a thimble. That's a bad story, bro. That's not even a good game. That's just bad. And even
Mine
then,
must
like,
be super dumb. I liked it.
Like
The
the
chat's
powers
mad at
weren't
you,
even
Alex.
good. Okay,
Chat.
Listen, that's a regular day for me. That's a regular day.
Do not let that slide.
the
Do
powers weren't
not
even
let
good.
that
The game-
slide.
the
That's
game
My
was
sacrilege.
jaw
easy.
is literally aching right here from laughing at
Right?
Alex's take.
It's just
Other
it's
Zinc
just
says,
atrocious.
I agree 100%. BioShock Infinite was trash.
Trash. The best BioShock was the first one. How about this? The best BioShock was System Shock 2.
Oh, come on
Oh.
now. That's super old school.
Yeah,
Alex
but
is canceled. You guys are
I-
funny.
I'm speaking
A lot of
facts
people
here.
will say that.
I
A
have
lot of
divided
people.
your chat, sir.
That's good.
good.
That's good. You know, and I really, somebody's like, why do you get certain people on your show? Like, this can't always be an echo chamber. Like, it's good to learn. And I can't even remember what I was going to say. You got me so sideswiped here.
That happens
But,
quite often with me. Be careful.
Yeah, that's Obi-Wan says Alex is drunk. No, he's quite sober. He didn't like Infinite. I played BioShock Infinite first because I hadn't played BioShock games. I really liked it. Then I went back, and I think 2 is way better than people give it credit for. I think it's pretty cool. But yeah, that's funny. Oh yeah, I remember what I was going to say.
Oh.
You guys are crazy. Somebody asked me in the chat to talk about the possible Take-Two acquisition by either Sony or Microsoft. They said, Colt, can you talk about that? The answer is no. I don't know anything other than people just whispering these ideas. And I think it's obnoxious to talk about something that may have sprouted from absolutely nothing. So I tried to make a video on it, and I just shelved it. So I don't know. That would rock the world, wouldn't it, Alex?
Take-Two would be an unbelievable acquisition. Like that would be just something that people were just not ready for. They've also been an incredibly bad publisher. Just the way that they've gone about trying to nickel and dime a lot of players and gamers as well.
$70 games.
Yeah. So I really don't know how that would occur or what sort of like thing would happen. But what IPs would they be really giving up is my question, right? Where like you've got Rockstar, all their stuff, GTA, Grand Theft Auto. I've already said that. Red Dead Redemption,
Max Payne,
which they haven't done anything with.
Oh man,
it's like why?
Bully, which they haven't done anything with. Like
3 is awesome.
It's just I didn't like 3 at all.
Who is this guy?
We're gonna kick Alex off the show. I'm just kidding. 3 is awesome. I
thought 3 took a really great character and made him just the whiniest little.
Yes, they did. Yes, he was very whiny.
Whiniest little baby I've ever seen.
Brazil never looked so
true.
Awesome. Like and of course the movement and shooting was great. And yeah, he was a whiner.
I think Max Payne 1 was better.
I beat it like 3 times.
So you got Mafia, NBA, Borderlands, Grand Theft Auto.
Oh jeez.
The 2K basketball series.
Oh man, that would change dealers' lives.
I will say I don't. My little itty bitty pea brain of knowledge, I don't think that PlayStation can afford to buy Take-Two. I don't think they have that much lying around. Now Microsoft, it would be super easy. Let me say it better as it would be very, very, very crippling for them to do that. It'd be very difficult financially.
Yeah.
And for Xbox, I think it would be very easy. So it's a big difference.
I mean, you're talking about $1 trillion corporation. That people wanted Microsoft to compete. Guess what? They opened up their wallet and they're competing.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Because, Alex, didn't Xbox sit in the dugout and just ride the pine for 5 years?
A long
during
time.
the Xbox One?
Yeah, the whole time.
It really bothered me.
I mean,
really bothered me.
Well, you know what bothered me was the Kinect and TV for the One.
Yeah.
I think those 2 things and really the online DRM that they were trying to implement, but I think those 3 things actually were really just the death knell. And when I look at people don't so here ready, I'm gonna give my boy Phil some credit. How do you take a burning trash fire of a brand that was the Xbox One and literally turn that ship around in 5 years? That is an astronomical task to do. Like he may not
add to it, they were going to give up midway through that generation too, that nobody really knows.
It is unreal what that guy has done. Now, you may not agree with his methods, but the guy did the job that people really weren't expecting him to do. People are like, oh, with the exclusives. How can I make exclusives when I don't even have a working console?
Wow, what a difference it made.
Like, it's crazy, you know? And like just what he's done in a short amount of time, I think is really great.
It's incredible. I made a video on why he saved Xbox, but really, he doesn't get enough credit. We saw it. We saw Xbox course correct in those 5 years, make those movements. It's why I respect Xbox more, because they're so more forthright and transparent with their messaging. And I really respect the guys at Xbox. I saw it from the absolute trash heap that it was, to learning from the grassroots, from us fans, listen to everything and made mistakes along the way. But that was a generation of, making mistakes but learning from them. Really hard. Massive kudos to Phil Spencer and his team. Sarah Bond, I mean, she's on another level. What she's done with Game Pass, these guys they deserve.
I'm glad they're competing. Yeah, I'm glad they're competing because we needed it.
We need it.
I mean,
we need
if
it.
Xbox died after this Thursday event, it wouldn't make anything any better. Because Sony's winning and they're charging you more money. It's crazy. It's really crazy. We got Hargit Chani who says, $5 super chat. Thanks, Hargit. Says, PS fans will make it the best show of the decade no matter what they announce. And like I said, I think they're gonna have a pretty good event because their state of plays have been not fun. So question is, he says, will the media agree? Are tables turning? Alex, what do you think? What's your take on the media's perception of Xbox and PlayStation right now? Where are they sitting?
I think it's a much more positive one. I've also heard people and grumblings saying that the media is being paid by Microsoft to make those things positive, which I find really ironic and funny. Because if they were getting paid by Sony last gen, wouldn't that be the case? So like that's just really just silly. I don't know. I think what's going on is that maybe Microsoft is making the right moves for specific things. And sure, there are some media outlets and media people who prefer one brand over another. I prefer PC. That's just my taste, right? And that's really just what everybody's into. You can definitely make a review of a game or a system or anything like that and still be objective about it, even if you don't personally prefer it. But I think at the same time, though, I think that Xbox is becoming more... I think Colin Moriarty said it best. Like, you've got a group of people at Xbox who are more vocal, more in tune with the actual community, who show up on podcasts, who do interviews, who do all that grassroots kind of stuff. And they do all that, and Sony doesn't. And I think it's just two different styles of like how they communicate. And like when I see Greenberg go off on tweets and start popping off, and I'm like, yo, what is this guy doing?
Love to see it.
Like, this is crazy. You know, like I wouldn't like...
You don't expect it.
I would have like... I kind of like the bravado Sean Layden had for a long time, because I thought that was like very like he's got a swagger to him, and he's gonna put up, and this is gonna be it. Like, he wasn't like, we'll put him on PC. He wasn't anything like that. And you know, I think everybody's different, but I think what Xbox is doing is they're just like, okay, we're gonna approach this from a different perspective. We're gonna be more in tune with like the community and what they do, and I think that's a good way of doing it. But I also think that that could be a double-edged sword, because you may be too ingrained and then lose sight of what your actual goal is. So I think it's difficult to see if they can actually be able to separate the forest from the trees and what they really want to do.
Yeah, that's a really like detailed answer. Like that there's no media bias, because I agree. I really don't see that. I used to see a media bias when I just felt like I was just way more biased, and now I just see like Paul Tassi from Forbes called out Xbox so harsh. I'm like, what is his problem? And then when you see Xbox improve and turn around and be totally different, I'm like, oh, that's why he was riding their rear end, right? So good on that. Everybody take a breath, take a stretch. Let's get the likes to 500. We're on the last bit of the show. It's super late. It's like it's the next day. The sun's going to come up for Gaz. We got two more super chats. Jedi Knight Peter gives an Australian $10 super chat. Colt, have you heard any news about Dolby Vision gaming coming out of the Insider program? No, I haven't. They need to hurry up on that. That's just another nice HDR color gamut for the games, so they need to hurry up on that. 108 Dragon, my man Lemon, who I met at E3 2019, says, Gaz for $1 per autograph. Great show. 2 thumbs up. Yeah, he's pretty awesome. As we round out here, I think we kind of talked about it in the beginning, but we'll end here with this. We'll start with Gaz. Gaz, what's your game of the year so far? What do you think is going to get game of the year that you've played that's out there?
Ooh. Does Halo count as a potential game of the year? Because it might slip into 2022. Or we're not doing the video game.
I don't think Halo's going to make it in the December 8th. I don't know.
I mean, if you're following that kind of thing.
Like,
from
what you've heard or what you've played, at least, what's game of the year?
I think It Takes Two deserves it. I think it's so unique to have so many game mechanics in a singular game when game devs and studios can't even get one genre right. And there comes Hazelight and shout out Joseph Fares, who smashed it with It Takes Two, which I haven't even completed, but I'm finding the right person to play with. I got the press copy, so I might buy the Xbox One, and me and you can play it together. That'd be so dank. We should do that. I want Halo to win, though. I'm a bit biased. I want Halo to win. I will sacrifice every game. Battlefield, Joseph Fares on the fire. I don't care. I will sacrifice them all for Halo to be game of the year. But I don't think it will.
For that big Xbox,
I don't know.
I'm seeing Flight Simulator, Psychonauts 2, Death's Door. Alex, what's so far you think your game of the year?
I don't think I played a single game that's been released this year.
You're on backlog territory.
I'm on backlog territory, but if I were to make a bet, I'm betting Battlefield 2042 is going to make some numbers.
Oh yeah, it is. It is. It's
I
gonna be
think
big.
that's going
Hope
to
so.
really be the big one. I think that's what
Can't wait for
everybody's
that.
not expecting. They're thinking like, oh, it's EA, but I think 2042, what they've done with bringing in the other games into it, the competitive modes, all that other stuff too, I think that game's just going to take off in a way that people really weren't expecting. I don't think it's going to review well because a lot of reviewers aren't really into competitive gaming like that.
Yeah.
But I think community-wise, that will probably be the game of the year in terms of the community. Hades wasn't released this year. It's been released quite a while ago, so that probably doesn't really
Yeah, I
count.
see Hades in there. I got a very special email about Battle 2042 today, and it got thrown into my very dangerous spam folder. I'm like, And shout out to Gaz. Gaz said hit up one of his contacts at EA. Was it for EA contact? To verify it was good to go. So, yeah, I heard back, and he said, thank you for being cautious. So, more to come on Battlefield 2042 to talk about here on the channel. But, Gaz, we'll let you go to bed. Why don't you tell everybody who you are, where you are, and where they can find you.
I am the Source Boss, co-founder and co-host with my lovely partner, Asa Walker, who we created GameOnDaily.com. It's a news aggregation platform, pools all content from everywhere together. And it's designed for content creators as well. You got a YouTube channel, you can just link your stuff there, bring in your Twitter followers. So GameOnDaily.com. YouTube channel is Game On Daily. Source, Paris was asking what the Source is about. It's a parody series where we take console warring and we just romanticize it and go crazy. And I've lots and lots in the works for that. And yeah, just want to say thank you for the invite. I love being here. Alex is just amazing. Synergy. It was good chatting to you as well, man. I really appreciate that. It was absolutely pleasure. Chat, you guys are hilarious. I've just been reading you guys. are brilliant. So mad love to your community. And thanks again, Colt. And shout out to the mods. Special shout out to Happy Bomb, legendary mod. I've been seeing you working overtime. Some funny chats.
Yeah, it can be a lot of work to run a show, but I do watch the chat as much as I can. You guys are amazing. Alex, what's your next YouTube video? What you're not just doing the bad takes. Like what's next on your channel this coming week?
So tomorrow we're going to be doing You Should Play, and it's going to be The Messenger. That's going to be one. Then I'm going to do top 5 tips before you buy a PC. That'll be the next one.
Ooh, that's a good
idea. And then probably Thursday is Press Start Podcast on my channel. And then Friday we play Halo with the boys and the viewers. So we have that. Saturday I take off, and then Sunday is Yakuza 0 stream. So Labor Day kind of threw a wrench into things, but I try to make content every day. It's youtube.com/ohnoitsalex. Daily content is a lot of hard work.
Yeah, oh no, it's Alex with 2 X's at the end.
Yeah, double the extreme.
So I wonder what kind of content you'll have coming as far as covering the fanboys. I wonder if it may be Xbox's turn to get called out again if they get wild about a good PlayStation show.
Yeah,
right?
They got called out when I did the Halo one. People weren't happy, but that's okay. And I'm not here to make you happy. I'm here to just correct I'm here to make the adjustment.
I'm not here to make you happy. I'm here to make you right. Maybe that should be your.
I'm not here to make you happy. I'm here to be right. That's what I'm here to be.
That's awesome. Both of their Twitter links are in the description. You can go scroll down to that, hit a like, go down there and click to that. It'll launch a tab. You can go to their Twitter and follow them there. And then, of course, they have their YouTube channels in that bio. So thank you guys so much for staying up late on your free time to hang out with. We had about 800 people watching the show. Yeah, quite a bit of people in the chat. Keeping it really fun. Appreciate you guys so much. Have a good night. I will be hard at work on a video probably tomorrow or the next day. I got to get something out before Alex does, but I think he'll be ahead of me. And Gaz, get to work on the sauce, baby. You guys have a good night. We'll see you soon. Thanks for showing up. We'll be on demand after the show wraps. You guys are incredible. And, of course, be nice.